I don't think that would pan out. I had a similar idea.
Anthony Cumia, we're alive, sir.
I love it. Joe Rogan.
If it was not for you,
Oh, my God.
this would not exist. That
Which is
a fact.
insane.
That is 100% actual fact. I was watching you doing live from the compound. Me and Brian Redband were sitting in my fucking living room, and we were watching you. You were fucking playing karaoke. You were singing karaoke with a machine gun in front of a green screen. And I was like, this guy just set up his own studio. Like, he already has Opie and Anthony Show. At the time, you guys were on Sirius XM.
Yeah.
And he just decided to do this thing in your basement just for a goof.
Yeah, it was like a hobby.
But it's like guys who don't have kids, married, who are not married, don't have kids, don't have anybody telling them what to do, and they also have disposable income. Then you get to see what guys really want to do. They want to sing karaoke with a machine gun in front of a green screen.
Yeah, it was crazy gun guy karaoke. So I could do that. If I was married, I would have a wife that would lose her mind at my living room. Like my living room table that you're supposed to have a candle on and little tchotchkes and stuff is a widescreen computer monitor and a gaming system right next to the table. I have a gaming computer that's just unbelievable. And I sit there and just play video games.
So the table itself is a gaming monitor?
Yeah, the whole table. Well,
is it one of those touchscreen ones?
No, it's a giant wide monitor. It's like 40 inches wide.
So that's the table.
No, it's on the table.
Oh, on the table.
Yeah, the table's this big heavy metal thing, but it's just everything. There's VR goggles up on the console by the TV. It's just sensors around the room for the VR. It's a playground, and you're absolutely right. Guys will spend their money on having fun if allowed to.
That's what this place is.
This place is insane,
I can't
Joe.
do this in my house. You go to my house, it's my wife's house.
See? That's how it works.
I have one elk head on the wall. That's all I have.
That's
Everything
all
else
you're
is
allowed. I laugh at guys when they have the man cave.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, come on down to the man cave. The chicks aren't allowed down here. I got this, the TV, that. And I'm like, no. Her place is the whole house. She relegated you to one room. I go, and you're happy about it. You're happy that you got one room.
Happy wife, happy life.
That's apparently it. It didn't work. It didn't work for me.
You know the Thoreau quote that I say way too many times in this podcast, but I love the quote. Most men live lives of silent desperation.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is true.
It's 100% true.
It was. I was married for a time, and it was a nightmare. It was a living hell for me. The only thing that got me through as many years as I was married, because I was married 9 years, and I don't remember one happy year out of those 9. But I had gotten into radio pretty early on in that marriage, and that was my life. So I dedicated myself. No matter how miserable anything else in my life was, I was doing radio. So I thought it was awesome.
I have a theory about that. I really do. I think that a person needs a certain amount of suffering in their life. And if you look at some of the all-time great comics or even all-time great radio personalities like Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Right? Howard Stern, during his heyday, when he was the fucking man, was miserable at home. Right? And he would talk about it. He would hide in his basement.
I love those stories,
you would realize, like, here's this guy. He's the biggest radio personality ever. He's huge, and yet he's got to hide. And he's just talking about masturbating and hiding from his wife, and he can't get any sex. And you're like, it didn't matter if he was huge. It didn't matter if he was famous. It didn't matter how rich he was. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
He's just hiding in the basement. And that angst came out on the radio. Like, you related to him. You understood it.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. It worked for me because there was a lot of misery. Like when I started doing really well, we moved back to New York from Boston after we got fired, Opie and myself.
You guys got fired for saying that the mayor died? Is that what happened?
Yeah, it was an April Fool's gag. And because we always thought the radio April Fool's jokes were so stupid and hokey. And we changed the format to all Elvis. And it's like after 10 minutes, they say April Fool's. So we're like, let's just go balls out and say the mayor's dead and have a news guy come on and report it and everything. And then it was supposed to subsequently get more outrageous as the show went on. So by the end of it, there was a Taiwan male hooker in the car with him, and they crashed because he was getting a blowjob or something. Like, it was going to get really ridiculous. But they stopped it early on and never allowed us to even mention it, so people really thought he died. Although it's kind of stupid. You go to the O&A Show for your news.
But back then, the internet wasn't what it is now.
Exactly.
The internet was it even? It was barely a thing.
It was barely a thing because that was 97, around there, 98.
What year did you get on? You were probably early adopter.
I was on really early, like the 80s. I was on bulletin board
boards?
servers and used to play trivia games with a 300 baud modem with people, and I thought it was amazing even then. And then in the when we were up in Boston, I bought a digital camera that was just this giant thing, and I had a laptop, another giant thing, and I would take pictures of what was going on in the studio and then post them that night on a website that I figured out. I used to code the HTML myself and make a website just to post pictures and links. And people thought it was amazing. Like, you're seeing what we talked about that day. It wasn't instant, but it was pretty cool. And then I started doing videos. I was able to put video, like maybe 8-second clips of nude girls if they were in the studio, and pop that up, and people loved it. And then I got a bill from the company for bandwidth, and I didn't know bandwidth. It was a $12,000 bill for a month. Yeah, because there was no compression or anything. I'm pumping video out to thousands of people uncompressed, and apparently they had that happen a couple of times. So they told me, just don't do it again. They didn't make me pay, which was pretty cool.
Wow.
But at that point, I had to learn about coding and compression and things like that. Yeah.
But so you just kept doing it and just put them in some sort of a compressed format?
Yeah.
What did you use? Do you remember back then?
Oh God, I think it was like for audio, it was Real Audio, which was hilarious.
That's right, the little player. The
little player, Real Audio player would pop up. And then for video, God, I can't even remember what it was, but it was terrible. It was all pixelated, like 10 frames per minute.
Isn't it weird that things like Real Audio, which was everywhere, they just quit?
They gave up.
Are they around still? Yeah.
Unless they changed into something else, or
might have got bought out by somebody.
Eaten up. Yeah, that happens to everything.
But honestly, if it was not for you and your show, Live from the Compound, and for Opie and Anthony.
Hilarious.
Because Opie and Anthony was the first radio show that where I ever realized you don't really have to have a format.
Yeah.
You could just talk.
Yeah, it was just kind of a talk thing.
It was a hang.
And a lot of the... we were on the same it was the same company as Howard Stern, CBS Radio. Yeah. Oh, look at that.
Real is still here?
Wow.
It says it makes stories from your videos and photos now, but this is exactly what it is. It's real.com. It's a real player.
Automatically makes video stories from your best photos.
Sorry to cut you off there.
Ew. It's ew now.
It's like a kind of montage.
iPhone does it automatically now.
Yeah.
It used to be a good way to watch porn with weird codecs.
The codecs, yeah.
Right? When porn had a weird codex, like who compiled this?
Yeah.
And then you'd get it, you'd watch it on Real Player. Like when you'd get porn from BitTorrent.
Yeah. And sometimes you wouldn't have anything on your computer to play it. It would say codec not available.
Yeah, exactly.
Get pissed off because
So
you
have
like
to go
the
find it,
thumbnail.
like, fuck.
Yeah. It's like, no, that thumbnail was awesome. I got to see this.
I remember the first time I ever got a porn video sent to me. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
You can watch a porn video? Before it was just photos.
The photos were insane because I guess it was around the mid-'90s. My brother had picked up an Apple computer. I don't even know what model it was or anything, but it was pretty good for the time. And I just sat in front of that thing for hours and hours on end, just one porn pic. It was no videos, just pictures. And you know how they used to scroll. Sometimes it was a corrupt file, so halfway down it would just turn white.
Yeah.
And pixelated and zigzaggy. But just for hours, just one more, and just
it would go tick 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 tick. It would slowly emerge. Tick 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 tick.
It was very compelling. Yeah, you'd sit there just waiting for the tits.
It's like a 3D printer is faster now.
Yeah,
than it was downloading photos on a 14K modem.
Yeah. It's insane to think of the technology end of it because you got thumb drives with more memory than entire computers had just a few years ago. And I remember, I guess it was Bill Gates or something said you'll never need anything more powerful than a 486 back years ago. And it's like, what, a couple of megs of memory and just crazy. The demand for computer power got way out of hand.
Well,
and especially with games and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a huge gaming guy. Now, you download a game like Red Dead Redemption 2 or Call of Duty, and it's 75 to 100 gigs.
Really?
Those games, yeah. And it's like that would have been 100 computers. and to think of those floppy disks you used to get games on,
yeah.
It would have been a pallet stacked up like 6 feet high of those discs to load it on a computer. So
yeah, like the old Doom game.
Yeah.
Load that with a floppy disk.
Make those sounds, and hopefully it would work. And now you just download them. I haven't been to a gaming store in years because with Origin or Steam, you just download the game right off of your offline. And,
so if you want to get Red
great.
Redemption 2, you just download it.
You just download it. Like, I don't know who goes to GameStop or anything anymore.
People still do, though. I mean, there's one in the mall. I've seen people walk in.
Yeah, I've seen it. I don't know.
Xbox?
Maybe for used games. Yeah, Xbox and PlayStation.
But at Xbox, you could download too, right?
Oh, yeah. And PlayStation.
All those things.
Yeah, you just plug that Cat 6 or whatever it is.
I was having a conversation with Jordan Peterson about this yesterday off air. I was saying I get concerned because I feel like all of our information, like the vast majority of it is now digital. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have some things that are written down on paper, but even paper, it's so easy to break and burn and fuck up. I mean, human beings lost most of the information about Egypt when they burned the Library of Alexandria.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who knows? I mean, there could have been all sorts of schematics and some diagrams, detailed diagrams, how they built some of the things they built.
Yeah.
Lost it all. That easily could happen to us, and then we'd be starting from scratch again.
Yeah, when it takes some form of electricity to get to all this information, you're really dependent on that there's going to be power, that type of power forever.
And even if we figure out how to reboot electricity, say if someday in the future, what if we have a massive coronal mass ejection and it fucking nukes the entire, the whole grid and all the satellites go down and we have to start from scratch. So it's a decade, 2 decades before people start rebuilding computers again that actually work. Well, they're going to have to decipher all this information. They're going to have to figure out those codecs. They're going to have to figure out. Yeah, they're going to get drivers to make all this stuff work, and you're going to miss a lot of it.
Yeah, all the info is literally ones and zeros and has to be decoded and put back together again.
And some important stuff, if it's on a drive somewhere, it could just get nuked.
Yeah.
And it's gone.
And then gone forever.
All the things that people figured out, gone.
Don't you wish that would happen at some point? I don't know. I'm so cynical, man.
You really have lately, more so.
I think over the course of the past few years, I've just gotten more cynical, and I think social media had a big effect on me.
Well, you engage too much.
Yes, I did. I'm off social media now. I have been for maybe months at least.
Was it a personal choice?
Well, Twitter kicked me off quite a few times.
What did they kick you off for?
Just dumb shit too. It wasn't even. It wasn't even that bad. Like the last one, it was. I was defending Jimmy Norton. Some girl was on just bashing Jimmy, and I was like, "Look at you." I go, "I don't even know what you are. First of all, you're either a masculine girl or a feminine guy." And your hair looks like it was dyed with period blood because she had some, and boom, gone. They fucking permanently suspended me.
Wow.
That was it.
Period blood was. You can't
period
make fun
blood.
Of menstrual cycles.
You can't make fun of that. You can't make fun of somebody's looks if their sexuality. I kind of called him a femme. Or a butch, whatever it was.
Whichever case.
Whichever case. And to this day, I still don't know, actually. But so I get kicked off a lot. I have a Twitter account now, but I have not told anybody what the name is, or because I just use it for research for the show.
Right.
Because Twitter gets the news before the news.
Yeah.
Like that's where everything breaks now on Twitter.
You know what's interesting to me? Louis Farrakhan's still on Twitter.
It's amazing.
You ever read some of the shit he says about evil Jews?
Crazy anti-Semitic.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And for whatever reason, they're scared to kick him off.
Yeah, they won't kick him off. I guess Laura Loomer is a Jewish kind of independent reporter girl. And
slash
nutcase, whatever. yeah, whatever you want to.
She chained herself to Twitter.
She chained herself to Twitter yesterday. It's hilarious. I just watched it on Periscope as it was going on, and she's got a bullhorn, and she's just yelling at Twitter.
That's where you lose me. When you got a bullhorn.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. It's kind of left-wing tactics she was using.
Yeah.
Because conservatives, the right, Republicans, whatever you want to call it, are pretty mellow when it comes to, they don't demonstrate really.
Right.
They like to just get in there and do their shit, whatever it is. But liberals really like getting out there and marching and yelling and bullhorns and stuff like that. So it was weird, like, to see that on the other end.
Yeah.
But she's just screaming. And I guess they unhooked her and arrested her. So it was pretty funny.
What did they kick her off of Twitter for?
They kicked her off for talking about Islam and talking about how Twitter was celebrating Women's Day, whatever that was, on a certain day, by focusing, like, the picture was one of those Islamic women that got elected to office up in Minnesota or somewhere. So she said how hypocritical that was because, Islam is for female genital mutilation and against women's rights, and they kill gay people. And that's all she posted. And she got kicked off for hate speech against Islam. And then her argument was Louis Farrakhan is saying, I'm not an anti-Semite, I'm an anti-termite, equating Jews with insects, which is pretty 1930s Germany kind of a thing. So, while her heart was in the right place, I guess it did come off a little wacky. She also had a Star of David, a yellow Star of David on her shirt as she was chained to Twitter, and people got upset with that. There she is. I just thought, to tell you the truth, I thought it was a good strategic move because you're going to buy time with that because the police do not want that optic of a uniformed guy kind of pulling a girl off there wearing a Star of David thing. A picture looks bad. So it might have bought her some time, but I don't know if that was her motive.
She planned it out well.
She did, apparently. It was the number one trending topic on Twitter, which is odd that, she gets kicked off and ends up being the number one trending topic.
Well, what's really odd is this is while Manafort may have perjured himself.
Right.
Mueller's going after Trump's deeper ties. Cohen is now saying that Trump was in cahoots with Putin. He was going to give him the $50 million penthouse tower in Moscow.
Yeah.
All that. But no. That girl got kicked off Twitter.
She got kicked off Twitter. It sounds ridiculous because I got kicked off, and I'm a little bummed about it. But it's because it's odd. It's not just a private company anymore that can do what they want. I'm not for government regulation, so I don't know how you fix this. But Twitter is now a thing where the president's on it. World leaders are discussing things on it. Emergency management, FEMA, and the weather services, they put out alerts in case of danger or some kind of event that's going to happen. And because of your political ideology or calling a girl period blood hair, you're not privy to alerts and safety information that.
Well, it's clear that it's not. Everyone's doesn't have to follow the same rules. We've already established that with Farrakhan.
Right.
We've also established that with Trump. Sam Harris has been he was at least, I think he's abandoned it, but it was on a quest to get Jack to try to hold up his terms of service agreement and kick Trump off of Twitter.
Right.
He's like, look what he's doing. He's threatening nuclear war. Like, do you understand? Like, this is the craziest use of Twitter ever.
Yeah.
And I think Jack's position was that it's more beneficial to have him on, and it's really we are getting to see his personality in a way we've never seen any president's personality.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the most ridiculous petty shit that he does like attacking Michelle Wolf because of her White House correspondence doing thing, calling people losers, making fun of the girl on Joe Scarborough, the girl he married, saying that she had fucked up plastic surgery and she was bleeding.
Yeah.
He just makes shit up. I mean, do you think she really thinks she showed up in Mar-a-Lago bleeding with fucking plastic surgery? He's a fucking maniac. But,
he really is.
But meanwhile, it's good for us to see because it educates us to who he is as a real person.
Right.
Like there's a lot of who you are just gets exposed in those tweets.
Yeah.
It's like little bit. You can't know everything about a person from their Twitter, but you can parse out little chunks where you get a good taste. And for him, it's very, very revealing.
Yeah, it is a weird thing. I think this will be looked back on as a very pivotal moment in American history and in politics, where that kind of crossroad happened.
Yeah.
Because we were pretty satisfied with that political speech thing. And we need to bring up the lower middle class and they just go on and drone on. And it's this weird speech that no real human being ever speaks like. Hillary was hilarious. And what we need today is It was fake. It comes off as fake and phony. Trump comes rolling in. It's absolutely batshit insane. Like the stuff he says, like you were saying. The other day, he's giving a speech and he said that when he was younger, people said he looked like Elvis because he was doing some kind of a commemorative thing for Elvis down in, is it Tennessee or somewhere? And he says he looked like Elvis. And we're laughing our asses off, me and Keith, because no one ever told him he looked like Elvis. No one ever told him that. And there's so many things. And I'm a Trump guy. I voted for the guy because I wanted that monkey wrench thrown into the machine. I felt we had gotten screwed too many decades, and it was time to let Washington know, like, look, we'd rather elect this nut than any of you guys. So I think it proved a point. There are enough checks and balances in place where, the likes of any one president really isn't going to do that much damage. I think he's pulled the cover off a lot of stuff. I think people are trying to compete with him on Twitter. Politicians are trying to play his game, and it's kind of fun to watch. As a comic entertainer, it's gold.
Did you see what Tulsi Gabbard said to him?
What?
She's a congresswoman from Hawaii. She said, being Saudi Arabia's bitch isn't making America first. Like, that's a congresswoman.
See? They're all kind of taking that. They never used to do that.
No.
They did, and it's odd that a 70-year-old guy was the one that was like bringing Twitter to social media into this forum.
It is odd.
And you would think it would be some young guy who'd get in there and do it, but
they would never do it the way he's doing it.
No, that's
he's
just
doing
it.
Like a reckless maniac.
It's and that's because he can.
Yeah.
The guy, you'll never see a chain of events like what happened to elect Donald Trump. The rich guy is just a billionaire, a millionaire, whatever you want to call him. He's got a lot of money.
Money from his dad.
From his dad, and then I remember him in New York when I was a kid. Trump was always in the news. Developer, he was always banging heads with politicians, trying to get some kind of zoning thing going or build some other tower somewhere. And so we were all familiar with him, and we knew he was like this piece of shit guy, Like everyone was surprised, like, oh God, he grabbed by the pussy. It's like we saw in the Daily News and the New York Post every week. Trump was with some other who and shit. So it wasn't a surprise to us.
Yeah.
But he got out there, and it was the perfect timing. Like, we come off the heels of 8 years of a Democratic president, and it just was people were ready for a maniac to be in the White House.
Some people were.
Some people were, exactly.
My favorite image of the election was that lady with the sock hat on her knees, with the glasses, screaming. Like that, to me, ushered in this era of outrage and chaos.
Yeah. It just
that was it. That was like the primal scream that set off the dominoes, and they're all in motion right now.
It wasn't supposed to happen. It wasn't supposed to happen. Hillary was supposed to be president. That's what everybody thought. It was going to go down in history as just one of those wacky elections, and then business as usual.
Yeah.
But when Trump won, it turned everything upside down and ripped the cover off of, I think, not only politics in Washington, but Hollywood, the mainstream media, the news media. Everything had the covers ripped off, and everyone's now got to peek inside and realize how fucked up everything is. You know, you used to assume Washington, at least the people had some kind of control, like they were adults doing the job that needed to be, and then you realize, oh my God, everyone's just a piece of shit.
Do you remember? Here's a story that disappeared from years ago. Do you remember the Washington madam that suicided herself?
Oh,
she had a whole
yeah.
book filled with politicians that were banging all these prostitutes.
Yeah.
And she was going to release everything, and she was doing press conferences, and then she committed suicide.
And
everybody's like, "Well, case closed. You know, no big deal. Oh, we lost our books.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And then it disappeared.
Yeah, it disappeared.
Things like that happen.
Oh, fuck yeah, they do.
Politicians kill people.
Oh yeah.
There's secret backroom deals that happen, and it's crazy.
House of Cards is way closer to reality than people would like to believe.
Yeah.
Way closer.
We over the course of decades upon decades, every year that goes by, we seem to get a little more knowledge and a little less confident in the government. I mean, I watched some shit from the 50s, you know. There's plenty of things on YouTube and even industrial films, just this thing of how to raise your family, how to be a good wife, all that stuff. And it was all this weird propaganda of what America was. And then as years go by, you realize, oh, it was all bullshit. Like politicians were always getting rich. And no one seems to know how or why. And these deals that are made aren't always in our best interest. They're not civil servants there to represent and help you. And as the years go by, we see more and more of this. And the past 2 years with Trump has just been, quite a crash course.
It really has.
Yeah.
It's great. I'm fascinated to see where it goes. I'm fascinated to see if he seems... You know, I mean, they always called Gotti the Teflon Don, but it seems like Trump is the Teflon Donald. I mean, he seems, it seems like all these things keep happening. And even because of I remember Justin Martindale, a comedian friend of mine, it's hilarious. He goes, he was talking about Stormy Daniels. He was like, she's our Monica Lewinsky. She's going to take him down.
Oh,
I'm like,
God.
the fuck? That's not happening.
Nope.
I go, you don't get it. He doesn't care that they know he fucked her. He doesn't care. Do you understand? It's not, you have to care for it to work.
Right. And that's just it. People don't really care. It's, some people. Don't care. I follow like Rosie O'Donnell's account on Twitter, and Rob Reiner is another one. And for over 2 years, they have just been like counting down and the day that it's like, oh, impeachment's right around the corner.
Yeah.
Oh, he's out. Oh, they're going to put him in prison. I hope you and your son get a cell next to each other. And it's like, how long are you going to do this? 8 years?
Yeah.
Is it going to be 8 years of you going, well, any day now?
How about Keith
Mueller's
Olbermann?
going to, yeah.
Do you remember when he was doing that wacky show in a basement somewhere for GQ?
Like a mental patient.
Yes, like legitimately like a mental patient.
Yeah.
The Resistance.
Screaming.
And it was like he was doing, like, it was almost like burlesque or something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how it was like the radio version of burlesque.
Yeah,
burlesque is like, when you see a girl doing burlesque, it's like a throwback to an old-timey way of doing things. Like the guy with the handlebar mustache with the bowler cap will introduce her.
Yeah.
She's bawdy. She's bodacious. Please welcome Madam blah, blah, blah. And she comes out to music that nobody listens to anymore, and she's dancing around.
Right.
It's very weird. And they're always kind of big girls. They're not skinny like little strippers.
Oh,
They're on
yeah.
meth. They're girls who eat. So it's like it's a throwback to a different time of rowdiness. And when he was in front of that screen, like and doing this thing with his suit on and his tie, like and everything was like really well written and like he had these precise points. And I don't understand like what the red, blue in the background was either. It's just it was so it seemed like something that someone had set up. Like not as good as your compound media in your basement. Live from the compound. It wasn't as good as that. It's like that's the background. This is for GQ. GQ is like, okay, we have $30.
Yeah.
So what do you have with $30?
I think Charlie's got a camera.
Yeah,
he could bring it in.
$30. Good. Okay, we have a table, the IKEA table. That's $12. You have $18 left.
We got some construction paper for the background.
I mean, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
They got some big ass blue and blue and red paint.
Yeah.
Or posters. Like what is that?
And then he would just pontificate there and
he quit. And his last thing was like, because the end is imminent. There's no reason for me to go on.
Right.
Trump is finished. Yeah, what is this? My work here is done. Play some of this.
Trump is finished.
2017.
Posted one year ago this week.
Exactly 1 year ago.
Wow.
It's November 11th, 2017 was when he quit.
He would get a pardon from Trump, or that Mueller, as I've also reported here, has succeeded in finding a way around Trump's pardon power. And either of these near certainties spell Trump's doom. So that's the most obvious of the 7 ways for Trump to go now.
7.
Mueller really will get him on Russia. It will be ugly and it will tear this country nearly apart, but it will be necessary. The second way is, as I've also repeatedly suggested here, that Mueller doesn't really need to prove anything about Trump and Russian sabotage of the election. There seems to be so much obstruction of justice, from the firing of James Comey to the lies about Trump Jr.'s meetings with the Russians, that it's hard to pick out a key player in the Trump inner circle who could not be guilty of it. Trump could be impeached.
It's so funny. Like, a year ago, and it's like, it's still going.
Still going.
Still going. And
it's like it's fake news.
Yeah.
End it now.
Fake news. It's a hoax.
But it is interesting. Like, Mueller to me is fascinating because he seems like a ruthless motherfucker who takes his time. He's like a guy who says, hey, look at me. I'm going to kill you. And it's not going to be today. Okay? That's all you need to know. It's not going to be today, but I'm going to fucking kill you. And like every day, he's plotting on killing you. You see him drive by your house and wave.
Yeah, you're like, when is the hammer falling?
You look out your window of your office. He's out in the park,
look at that guy
drinking coffee.
Oh, he has seen some shit.
Oh, I mean,
this guy.
He's a cold-blooded intelligence agent.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys have seen everything. He knows the inner workings of the machine, and he knows how you bring a guy like that down and how you fuck it up. And he's doing everything that leads me to believe that he's not fucking it up. This is a slow play.
And if there is anything to the Russian thing, you would think something would have leaked out by now.
Well, it has. I mean, there was a video the other day of Donald that they just played on CNN of Donald talking about how many times he's actually been to Russia, Donald Jr. And, he had said that he hadn't been. But then there's another video of him from years ago saying, yeah, I've been there many times, 2005, 6, 7, 8, talking about business.
The problem with the people that are going after Trump that they don't seem to understand, the guy, right up until he became president of the United States, was just a private citizen businessman. So he had a lot of dealings around the world with his real estate and buildings and golf courses. All this shit happened when he was just a citizen doing business. Now, whether it was ethical or not, that could definitely be brought into question. Whether it's legal or not, I'm sure that's what they're looking into also. But he wasn't beholden to the people as a public servant. There wasn't a conflict of interest because he was a lifelong politician,
right,
and using the power of his office to make deals. So, and that also goes hand in hand with him just fucking around.
Yeah.
Like if he went from a selectman in his hometown and then years and years go by and then you're the president and you built that career up, at any point in there, they could call you out on being a horrible human being because you fuck girls or you're this or you had a shady business dealing. But up until 2 years ago, he was just Donald fucking Trump.
Yeah.
So it's hard to call him out on even dealing with Russia because there's plenty of businessmen that deal with Russia and China.
I think the question is whether or not he colluded with Russia to get information about Hillary and also to put out all that propaganda against Hillary and also saying that they're going to make a deal to do the Trump Tower in Moscow. This is all while he was running for president and not being honest about it. I think that's That's where it gets.
Again, I don't know
Almost-
if there is anything illegal there. I don't know if there's anything that he did that is illegal. Because I believe when you're campaigning, say whatever the fuck you want to anybody. I don't think
you're not really running. I mean, you're
Right.
running,
You might
but you're not really
lose.
running anything. You're not really running the country.
Yeah, if he lost the presidency, he would still have to have some ducks in a row to continue his business. So,
Yes.
and his son took over that part of what he was doing so he could campaign. So whether Donnie Jr. went over to Russia or not, I don't really see. You might think it's unethical, and you might go, well, did he say if we win, we'll do this and
Right.
help you out? So who knows about that part of it? But I don't see in and of itself him going over there being that big a problem. And the fact that, the Clinton campaign and the DNC, they had a lot of shady deals going on with Russia also, and that crazy dossier and an English spy and a Russian, and that just never seems to get any traction. It's weird.
Well, there's way more left-wing media publications than there are
Yeah,
right-wing.
absolutely.
That's just a fact. There's only a few right-wing newspapers, and right-wing websites are oftentimes maligned. They're
Yeah.
not treated seriously. There's no right-wing newspaper that's treated with the same amount of respect as the New York Times.
No,
Doesn't
hell no.
exist. Doesn't exist.
No, what the New York Post?
Well, is the New York Post right-wing?
I don't know.
They're more
They-
outrageous than
Yeah,
they are right-wing.
yeah,
They
yeah.
don't give a fuck who you are. Liberal, Democrat,
True.
conservative, Republican, they'll fuck you.
Some of the headlines that have come off of the fucking Post have been classic over the years.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
They're like comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just comedy.
Yeah.
One was, the one I thought was just so douchey. When Fred Astaire died, it was said, "A stairway to heaven." I was like, who fucking...
But that's
Someone
New
must have
York.
gotten hit for
That
that.
is the one thing that I do love about New York and Boston too.
Yeah.
There's a harshness to the comedy. Because
Yeah.
the people are fucking cold. It's cold. The wintertime is cold and you're like, fuck you. And that growing up there, man, it flavored me, it flavored Burr.
Yeah.
There's a million guys like that Patrice, that fucking
Yep.
comedy, a lot of it came out of that part of the world because that part of the world's different.
Isn't that weird? It's cold.
Fucking cold.
And you think that just makes people angry?
Yeah, cold and a lot of people. I think cold and very few people makes people more down homey and compassionate, and they stay together.
Montana.
Except for a few serial killers randomly scattered out into the woods.
Yeah.
But other than that, you get people that work together and help each other because they realize they're in this together.
Yeah, there's a stark difference between New York and Boston-based comics and LA-based comics.
Oh,
it's amazing.
giant difference.
Yeah. And some of them have that crossover appeal there, and they've moved, places,
Yeah.
and like Bill,
But maintains that Boston sensibility, that New York sensibility.
Yeah.
That's what's appealing about him is that he's still a savage.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that. You don't grow that out here. It's too sunny. It's nice every day.
Everyone seems kind of pleasant out here, whether it's real or phoniness, but it comes off as pleasantry. And in New York, it's just a grave disregard for everybody. You literally step over people.
There's too many people.
Yeah.
They lose their value.
Yeah.
It's like if you have a million pennies and you drop a penny. You're like,
Who
whatever.
gives a shit, right?
Lost a guy on the train. Whatever. You know?
It is odd when you think about if there was somebody just laying in the gutter of the street in, I don't know, some small town in Kansas. The police and ambulance would be called, and people would stop and ask if he was okay and stuff. And in New York, you literally step over those people. You just don't even look in their face. It's an inconvenience that someone is laying on the sidewalk.
If you were in the middle of a snowstorm and your car broke down and you saw a guy laying on the side of the road, you'd help him.
Of course.
You'd be like, oh, Jesus, poor guy. We got to help him too.
Yeah.
Come on. Hey, buddy, you all right?
Yeah. Not so much in
Not
New York.
New York, you just see him lying in his own piss, needle hanging out of his dick.
Yeah, and
No one
I'm
cares.
pissed that it stinks.
Yeah.
down on the
Ugh,
subway.
Fucking gross.
Fucking disgusting, man. Yeah, no
It
compassion.
does stink too, though. On a steamy August day,
It's the worst, and it's gotten worse under De Blasio, who's the mayor of New York now. And say what you want about Giuliani, who now is batshit crazy.
what happened with him?
I don't know. I think there's
something blew a fuse. He's not respectable anymore.
He's like some kind. Well, he aligned himself with Trump, so that immediately gets you put into a category. But
Why
he's
do you think
also
he
a
did
little.
that?
I think he's got some dementia going on. Like he just doesn't seem right.
You know what it is? Lost his comb over.
He had a comb over for what is that like? What's his name?
Gave up
With
on the comb over, and he realized, oh my god, I'm fucking crazy.
Samson's hair. It's like that. He lost the last wisps. Those last wisps of comb over.
Yeah.
That he had
Neil
during
Hamburger
9/11
thing going on.
Yeah. He was at one point, after 9/11, they called 9/10/2001. He was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
No one liked Giuliani.
Yeah.
He ruined New York. He ruined it by commercializing it, cleaning up all the porn theaters, getting rid of the tunnel bunnies and the squeegee guys. Like he went on a tear. Just gave the police department carte blanche to start racking head and taking care of business. It cleaned up New York. Times Square turned into a Disney-type atmosphere instead of that drug-addled fucking mess that it was. And people hated him for kind of ruining that gritty New York that we saw in Taxi Driver and shit. And then 9/11... he was America's mayor. That's what they called him. Yeah. America's mayor. He's going out of Yankee games and ovations and people. He's standing with the his comb over.
He looks like a crazy person on the right.
Yeah.
He just totally shaved his head. If I talk to him, I would say, listen, bro, there's a lot of power in just shaving your head.
Just shave that head, motherfucker.
Yeah, you feel good. You feel like a guy who has like hair on the side of his head. Unless you do a lot of drugs like Hunter S. Thompson, it's hard to pull that off.
You can't pull that off. I think, who
Look at
who
him
pulls
at the
it
upper
off?
right-hand side. That's a comb over in the beginning. No, above that, to the right, with a suit. Look at that.
Oh,
That's where it's first started.
That's the full
That's
comb
like
over. Oh my god!
Yeah, look at that.
Oh,
that's working it from the back. Like, hey,
and what
buddy.
did he do? Did he try to get plugs or something in the front?
I don't think so.
I don't know what that is.
It's just rocking that full, strong comb over.
That is. He had a lot to do with the getting rid of organized crime in New York City.
Yeah.
Like the mafia, the five families, all that shit was still running pretty rampant throughout the 70s and 80s. As a kid, me and my brother used to laugh our asses off. We'd open the newspaper, and there was like, Johnny the Horse Bugliotti was found dead and stuff. We would laugh our asses off at the names.
Yeah.
Like, just those mob names. It's hilarious. And that scene in Goodfellas at the beginning when they're just going through and, the nose and Killer and this guy, and they all have those fucking names that are hilarious. And, Giuliani was a big part of that. I'm surprised they didn't kill him. Like, he was absolutely responsible. He kept going after them and kept putting them away with the new RICO statutes that they had, and locked up a lot of mobsters, man. So,
well, another problem with the mobsters is they started ratting on each other.
Yeah.
As soon as you start ratting on each other, all your mystique is gone. Your whole legend is gone. The whole thing is that you guys have omerta. You keep your fucking mouth shut. You do your time like a man.
Right.
And then you get out and you're a hero. And this whole thing keeps going. This thing of ours keeps going.
This thing of ours.
But those fucking pussies didn't want to go to jail.
Isn't that something? Like the old school guys would be offered, you could walk, or you could get a really easy sentence, just talk. Oh, fuck your mother.
Yeah.
And then, they reach the point where it's like, I'm not built for prison. No.
But when they would put him in prison, though, it was like in Goodfellas.
Right.
They would be able to cook, and they paid the guards off. They had a sweet setup. Mm-hmm. The internet ruined all that, too.
Yeah.
The internet. Well, it was probably all dead before the internet. But like Sammy the Bull Gravano, he was free. He did his time, the minimum amount of time. He killed at least 10 people.
Murdered people. Yeah.
And he confessed to them. Talked about the murders that he did and how he did them.
He wanted Gotti so bad. They wanted Gotti so bad.
Sammy the Bull Gravano was a fucking straight up psychopath.
Yeah.
It's total serial killer.
Yeah.
And they let him walk, and then he got arrested eventually for selling ecstasy in Phoenix. He moved to Phoenix after that.
Yeah. And then he
was running shit down there.
And how did he just not get whacked out? Like what?
Because the mob was gone.
They all were gone, and no one cared.
Dissipated. It had all crumbled.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Just like, poof, went away.
Well, the thing that, like, Gotti was the first one that was like real flashy in public about it all.
Yeah, they didn't
Whereas,
like that.
Vincent the Chin always used to walk around like a crazy person in the bathrobe,
The
pretend he
bathrobe.
was nuts. But he would give people directions while he was doing that. But he felt like everything was being bugged. So what they would do is they'd bug cars along his walking route, so
Right.
they could record him.
Oh, that is hilarious.
They knew what he was doing.
Jesus. There's always a way.
Yeah.
There's always a way to get you. Yeah, the mystique was gone, though. Yeah.
It wasn't really like the Russians still have the mystique. Russian mobsters,
They are brutal, too.
they're the scary ones.
Like, they are the scary ones.
Yeah,
there's
they're the scary ones now.
a worse mob. Because regardless of what it turned into, there was a time where the Italian mob did have a line, like you didn't cross. Family, things like that. But the Russians, oh my God, will they fuck up an entire family?
Yeah.
The dog, everything gets
Everything,
killed
yeah.
in the worst way. Yeah, they're scary, scary motherfuckers. I had an experience out. It was Broadway, I guess, and they have those pedal cabs that go around, and they're all Russian dudes, big fucking legs on them. They pedal around, and I was looking for a cab, a real cab, to take me downtown. I wasn't going to ride 15 blocks in a tricycle with Yuri pedaling in front of me. So this guy passed by once and said, "Do you need the cab?" I was like, "No, I'm good, thanks." Comes around again. I'm still waiting for a cab, and he goes, "Cab?" And I was like, "I'm not gonna have you pedal me 15 fucking blocks. No, move." And you could yell at a cab driver in New York. They'll yell out your window and stuff. They rarely will get out of their car. They know, you got the medallion right there. You could just call the number and say you were being harassed by a cab driver. So they won't do anything. This guy gets off his fucking bike. "You have a fucking problem? You have a fucking problem?" What? And I was just like, "Oh shit, it's going down." Like this guy means business. And of course I'm like, "No, all good, all good. I thank you. I don't need a cab." "You're right, motherfucker." And that was it. But you don't fuck with Russians.
No, they're not regular white people.
No, they're not.
They're not. They're hard people.
Yeah.
You see that in the UFC. There's a lot of badass Russians fighting
obviously
in the UFC now.
we saw that
Khabib
recently.
Nurmagomedov, yeah. Yeah. When he was on top of Connor, punching him in the face, saying, "Let's talk now. Let's talk. Let's talk. Boom! Let's talk. Come on, we talk. Boom!"
Just twisted.
Horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they got those other videos that you see on YouTube and whatnot of Russians just up in steel I-beams.
Yeah.
Like 100 stories
Doing
up.
backflips.
Swinging, doing
Yeah.
backflips, hanging by 2 fingers.
Oh,
Isn't that
sometimes
uncomfortable?
falling and
Sometimes falling. Yeah.
My hands are sweating. You just talking about that makes my hands
Dude,
sweat.
it is so uncomfortable to watch.
Oh.
And because they get themselves in these positions where maybe there's this thin little alcove,
Yeah.
and they put their hands against one side, their feet against the other. If your feet slip, there's no recovering.
That drives me crazy.
It's not. Look, I got goosebumps. Isn't that weird? You get a visceral reaction to just the thought.
And I have some friends that just know that I freak out, so they send me those every day.
Oh Christ!
Yeah.
There are some things that are online.
Oh, look at this fucking guy.
Look at this guy. What's it? Get the fuck.
Oh
My God.
Oh,
They are nuts.
I can't do this, man.
Oleg.
My hands are pouring sweat
Yeah.
right now. Oh my God, look at this crazy asshole.
Oleg, I film you.
Oh, he's one
Oh
arm
my
in
God.
It.
Do crazy shit.
Oh my God, he's
Oh.
handstanding.
Oh.
What does it say? Daredevil returns with latest shocking stunt on skyscraper. This fucking motherfucker that he's doing a handstand on, what is that, a 3-inch ledge?
Oh,
4-inch
my God.
ledge? Oh, he's going around the corner.
Come on,
You
come
can't
on.
go around the corner.
What are you doing?
Don't you do this, you fuck.
Dude, one little fucking miscalculation or how do you do that? How do you know your center of gravity isn't just going to pull you right the fuck off?
Jesus Christ, he went around the corner.
That's nuts. What is this guy's life like if he just decides he's going to do this?
This makes me very uncomfortable.
That is so fucking high up.
It's so high.
That
up.
is so
Here's the
high
thing.
up.
I can't do what he did if it was on the ground.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I can't do those handstands and all that jazz on the ground.
Mark out 3 inches and try to stay on it with your hands.
Or mark it up enough so that you like put pads under me.
Right.
Right. And then give it so I could jump up and grab it and hang.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Let's see how much of that I could do. Like a couple of things. I could hang from my fingers. I might be able to pull myself up, but if I got to the top, I'd probably slip.
Yeah. You know, height will definitely fuck with you. Like if you're riding a bike on a sidewalk, you will never fall off the sidewalk.
Right.
You could just ride your bike. You don't even have to think about it. Sidewalk, what? A couple of feet wide. If that was over like the Grand Canyon, you would be shaking. You couldn't do it. And it's the same fucking thing. It's just your perception and the height, and you know. You'd be fucked up. You'd be like this. I'm gonna fall off.
We have that HTC Vibe in the back room here.
Oh yeah.
And there's one game. We have to download that game. We haven't gotten that game. When you go to the hardware store and you buy a 2x4 and you lay it down on the floor, and then the game is you put the VR goggles on and you're walking on this 2x4 over, like in between 2 skyscrapers.
Right.
So as you're doing it, and like you hear sounds.
Oh my god, that's
look at
awesome.
This is the actual game.
Oh my god.
So you step out.
Oh
And
yeah.
there's the 2x4. So this 2x4 is real. Like you have an actual 2x4. So
Right.
you're really walking on this.
So you're feeling it.
And you walk the plank.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And you look down and you're like,
Oh,
Jesus.
yeah.
What is that thing floating in front of you?
I don't know.
What's that supposed to be, Jamie?
I've never done it. I don't know.
It's yeah. The first of all, watching it on a screen does VR no justice.
No.
You can't really.
Right.
You are in a space. It's so cool to kind of look around. They definitely have more work to do.
Yeah.
It's it looks cool. You feel like you're in a 3D environment, but it's not very photorealistic.
No. My kids are addicted to it.
Really?
They run here after school.
Oh,
and
really?
They put the VR goggles. They fight over it. I'm first. And they put the VR goggles on and play these fucking crazy games.
Yeah, I have the Oculus and the Vive and the PlayStation VR at home. And
What's the best?
Right now, the Oculus is the highest quality of the VR goggles. I think PlayStation has some pretty cool games out there, though. And Vive does, too. But I think Oculus is going to come out very soon with a completely wireless one.
Yeah, so is HTC Vive.
Yeah. So you're not like tethered to anything and tripping over wires and shit.
That's going to be big.
That's pretty huge. It's weird though because some games aren't conducive to VR, and you would think like I play Call of Duty or Battlefield 5, World War II thing just came out, and I love that game. But I couldn't play that for hours because I would play for fucking hours on end, and to have the goggles on that long and trying to play a shooter like that, I think VR right now is more conducive to experiences than it is like that. That's pretty much not a game. It's an experience, and it brings you into a whole nother 3D world around you. But like a shooter game like Battlefield or Call of Duty, not really conducive to VR right now. Not yet.
Yeah. I think in the future, though, a plastic gun.
Yes.
Like if you were holding a real plastic gun.
You need that
actually
interface.
But
Yeah.
that would be fucking amazing for a shooter game.
Yeah. There's a few other ideas that they're working on that should be available relatively soon, where the system maps your house, like the room you're in, off of your headset, and will superimpose things over the couch. Like it'll be a ammo crate. A chair turns into a box ammo crate. So as you walk around the room, it's reading your room, but making this VR world that looks more military or like a jungle or whatever it is. So it won't be a couch. You'll hit it, but in your vision, it'll be a box or an ammo crate or, whatever, a car, something like that. So that's kind of cool, utilizing the real environment around you and then superimposing shit over it.
You know what else is really cool? The boxing games.
Yeah.
In the boxing games, you get a crazy workout. You get a real legit workout because you're actually like fake boxing this cartoon character.
Yeah.
And when you get hit, you see a bright white flash, like he tagged you.
Like you got hit.
Like you got your bell rung.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Like but you get you get a real workout when you're doing this. So you get out of breath.
I've watched my girl plays that, and it's hilarious. It's funny to watch people do VR, and especially stuff like that, because they're ducking. There's another shooter game that she was playing, and it's hilarious because she's like screaming and ducking down, and your hand is up, like pulling a trigger on a fake gun over something that isn't even there.
Right.
So it's cool to watch people play.
Yeah, there's some crazy zombie game that my kids play.
Yeah.
It's like that. You get a bunch of guns and ammo, and then the zombies are closing in on you. You got to gun them down.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
I'll tell you, there are some games or experiences where you're walking through kind of a haunted house thing that are genuinely fucking alarming.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to go around a corner. You don't want to do anything. And like there's when you watch on a monitor, it's just the monitor. There's shit behind you that you're not seeing unless you turn around and look.
Right.
So you hear a sound and be like, I don't want to turn around. I know that thing's going to be right in my face. And it's frightening.
What is the Alien game for? Is that for the Vive or Oculus? Is a Ridley Scott Alien?
Yeah, that's I think it's both. Because I had it for Oculus.
It's
you had it
supposed
for
to be
Vive.
fucking terrifying.
Yeah, Alien something. Yeah.
It's the one like Alien, the original movie.
Yeah, you're on a ship.
Yeah.
It starts with the doors open up and that little thing drinking the water, that little tchotchke on the the desk, and it's it really gives a good recreation of the movie, which was fucking awesome.
That's one of the greatest movies.
Goes down as one of my favorites.
That movie is also one of my favorite examples when people talk about pushing diversity in movies.
Oh yeah,
this movie had a female lead who's a female superstar who, spoiler alert, winds up winning in the end and killing the alien.
Yeah.
But you don't even notice.
No.
It never feels like it's crammed down your throat.
Right.
Whereas the last Star Wars, I was like, get the fuck out of here, Laura Dern. You're not running the Empire. Like, get out of here. You're like, what is this? Like, she's the head general, and then Carrie Fisher's the other head general, and they're telling these men to shut up, and this all makes sense to you?
Isn't that fucking
This
amazing?
is preposterous.
Dude, they had, that was 1979, and they had more of an idea of how to present that than,
First of all, Sigourney Weaver is just a fucking badass.
Badass.
And believable.
Movies-
You believe that she
yeah.
pulled it together. She was such a great actress.
Yeah.
So that's Alien Descent. That's
This
what
is
it is?
like that thing that you did at Disney, though.
you
have to go to
free
this.
roaming
this is
VR
when the Ghost is
This
experience.
is new. Yeah, this just came out
shit.
earlier this year in Orange, California. I'm not exactly sure.
Well,
where it is.
that would Jamie and I have talked about that many times. Like that's the future, like a warehouse like this space out here, but converted into just a giant VR experience.
Yeah.
Where's this, Jamie?
Orange, California.
Shit.
Orange County.
Oh,
That's not far
shit.
from here.
Look at that.
Damn, we need to go.
Yeah, there you
Damn. Yeah, when I first saw Alien, back, kids, I saw it in the movie theater when it first came out. There, kids.
I can't
My
believe it's in the
mom took
70s.
me. It was 79. Yeah.
It's
And
hard
it was,
to believe.
It was just one of those movies that at the time everyone goes, "Oh my god, you got to see this."
Yeah.
The chest fucking burst scene just slayed people. But yeah, when you're watching that, because traditional movies, the guy's the hero, and that's what happens. When Tom Skerritt gets it, you're just like,
What?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
They just killed the star, the hero. It was Tom Skerritt.
Yeah.
I was like, no, it's not his fucking movie.
He was a big movie star.
Yeah. And then I think it was like the first movie where the spaceship was kind of a truck, and it was just dirty and just regular guys concerned about getting paid and shit like that. So that's why it was amazing.
Which is this one?
This is Covenant in Utero, which is on the Oculus Rift. It came out a year or two ago.
Oh, cool.
Oh, so this is after the
show
Covenant movie, which is a fucking awesome one. That's
I like
most
that
recent one. I love those goddamn movies. I love
Are
those
they good?
movies. They're
Yeah.
so good.
I like that shit.
But
and-
that movie, they nailed it. It was just great. It didn't matter if a woman was running it. It wasn't.
Right.
They weren't shoving it down your throat.
No.
Whereas I felt like that last Star Wars one with Laura Dern and Carrie Fisher was like,
flying Carrie Fisher.
Come on.
Yeah,
Stop.
I wasn't feeling it.
I didn't feel like they were. Look, there's certain women like what is her name from House of Cards? The head woman.
Oh yeah. What's her?
Quick, Jenny from
Forrest Gump. Yeah.
Sean Penn's
Sean
ex-wife.
Penn's ex-wife. Penn. So it's something
No, I don't think
something Penn.
The fuck's her name?
I think she used that
She's
for a
so
while.
good too. I'm embarrassed.
Robin Wright.
Robin Wright.
Robin Wright.
Yeah, Robin Wright. Okay, if Robin Wright was playing a general, I would believe it.
Yeah,
she's a
yeah.
mean bitch.
Right.
She could send in some fucking tanks. I'd believe that she would like nuke a planet.
I'd buy that. Right.
Yeah, but like Carrie Fisher and Laura Dern, I was like, come on, I see what you're doing here. They're running things.
I think they're putting out too many Star Wars movies to have that mystique and that kind of atmosphere that it was like to go to one of them years ago.
It's also it's Disney now.
Yeah.
Which is great because it's consistent and it's good.
Right.
But it's never stunning. It's
No.
never terrifying. It's never ex machina. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's never fucked up like where you leave the theater going, holy shit.
Yeah.
They can't do that anymore. They have
No.
to kind of polish off the sharp edges and soothe the experience down to more palatable mainstream appeal.
Yeah. The first Star Wars back in '77. Again, I saw that in the movie theater with my uncle. My uncle Joe took me, and I didn't know Star Wars from a hole in the wall. I remember the trailer playing on TV, and I was like, "All right, that seems kind of cool." And then we sit down, and that opening scene with the giant ship just does a flyover. And I was just, from that point on, I was just mesmerized with this, the illusion of size that they got in the ship and
the
space
ship was an
battles
actual ship. They made it out of like plastic model parts.
Yeah, practical effects. It was all like,
they took models, like they went and bought like a bunch of different. You remember those old models that we used to do, like cars, and then you would paint them.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Remember those? You glue them together. You get the model glue and everything. I used to love those.
Yeah.
They took a bunch of parts from those things and built the Millennium Falcon. They built those battleships from like parts, like
and
shit.
you could kind of tell because they're so weird and eclectic, and some of the parts don't seem to match.
Right, but it worked. It looked cool.
It totally worked.
Yeah,
that was if you didn't imagine being in one of those X-wing fighters as a kid, it was just an amazing thing.
It's amazing.
That's kind of gone.
It shows you how great Alien, like Ridley Scott's Alien, really was. Because although Star Wars was a great movie, honestly, Star Wars doesn't really hold up. Mm-hmm. Like, if you watch it today, you look at the special effects, like, what? What am I watching? This is so clunky. And then the Katina scene.
That's always.
The mouths don't move. Like, the monster's face is like. It's weird. They're wearing a mask. It's really obvious. But then you go just 2 years later to Ridley Scott's Alien. That motherfucker holds up today.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, I got yelled at because I watched it with my kids.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, because my 10-year-old can handle shit. My 8-year-old cannot.
Oh, man.
And I watched it. I'm like, you think you can handle it? And they're like, yeah, I can handle it. I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. People are going to die. And the first time the dude got the tongue through the forehead, they're like, what?
What the fuck
are we watching, Daddy? There was nightmares.
They'll remember that.
Yeah.
My dad, my mom and my dad took me, my brother, and my sister when I was 7 years old to go see Bonnie and Clyde with Warren Beatty and what's her name there? I can't remember who played Bonnie.
Faye Dunaway?
Faye Dunaway. Very
Was
good.
it?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. And now it's famous for being one of the most graphic machine gunnings at the end of the movie. I mean, they were pulling up, they got ambushed by law, and they just get shot up. The whole movie, though, as a 7-year-old kid, I liked these people. They were funny. They robbed banks and stuff, but, they'd make jokes, and they were cool, and you got to know them as a person. So as a 7-year-old, I was like, oh, these people are cool. So then the end of the movie comes, and they're out there, and you hear the birds fly away, and Clyde looks at Bonnie with the one lens missing from his glasses, and it's really quiet, and then all hell breaks loose. It's just 5 guys shooting Thompsons at both of them, and they're being riddled with bullet holes. And the scene goes on, and they're falling down and against the car. The car is just full. Yeah, there it is. It's so brutal.
It's crazy too, seeing the girl get it.
Oh yeah,
there's something ruthless about seeing a girl get shot 100 times.
Yeah.
Look at her.
It was. We saw this at the drive-in, and I I started vomiting in the car. 7 years old. We had been to Arby's before, so my Arby's was all over the car. I was screaming, crying, and throwing up. Going like, what the fuck did you take me to see? I liked these people. I had like a 2-hour relationship with them, and it ends like that. I was horrified as a kid.
Yeah, there's certain things, but is that bad? Like ultimately,
I don't know.
You saw that when you were a kid. Like maybe it's not good to shield kids from too much.
Yeah, but maybe not to that extent. Show me a cartoon first or something, because I don't know. I don't know if it affected me. It's hard to tell without knowing what it would be like if I didn't see stuff like that. But the fact that I remember it vividly so many years later maybe had an effect.
But is it a negative effect?
I don't know.
It's like there's certain experiences that you can handle. Like today, as an adult, you could see a movie where a guy gets shot and you can handle it. It doesn't freak you out.
Of course.
But if you saw it when you were 4, you'd probably freak out.
Yeah.
But is it good to experience that when you're 4 just so that you know it's a thing? And now you have a different view of the world. Or is it good, like, you're not a parent, but as a parent, this is the age-old question. Like, how much do you protect your kids?
Yeah.
And how much do you let them break their arm? Because you break your arm, you know if you fall, you break your arm. Everybody's like helicopter parenting you constantly. Like, I don't want anybody to die, but I don't mind if anybody gets banged up a little bit.
Right.
I think you should. I think you should know that if you trip, it hurts.
Yeah.
You know, there's also, you should know that the bullets are real. This is a real thing that happens. Mm-hmm. Like with my kids, ever since my kids have been really little, I've been hunting. And so I've been bringing home meat and explaining to them that this is meat from an animal that I shot. If you go to the supermarket and you buy a steak, that came from an animal. And I try to get this in their head at an early age. So then I introduced them to watching a hunting show with me, where we shot a deer and then took the deer apart.
Oh,
and
shit.
like you're seeing, like they're watching us cut an elk apart.
Yeah,
and my kid's watching this, and I'm like, well, this is where you get meat. Like when we eat dinner, if we eat elk for dinner, this is exactly where it came from. I shot it in the mountains. We cut it up. We packed it out on our back. We put it into a truck. We drove it somewhere, and now we're here. Now we're eating it. This is it.
Yeah, I guess
there.
if you present it like that, that's, I would guess, is a good thing.
Maybe, but there's something weird about watching a little kid watch an animal get shot, where they're like,
Yeah.
and then they realize, my dad did that? Is that good? Is my dad a piece of shit? Like, it's like this. These like the animals are so beautiful. Well, animal's a hot dog. Your hot dog's a fucking. You want a hot dog, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's an animal. Like, okay, like because most kids it's a hot dog. It's just a fucking cheeseburger.
Yeah.
It's not an actual animal. Like they kind of know. Like if you asked a little kid, hey, where'd this cheeseburger come from? Oh, it's from a cow. But that's like, to them, that's like saying the moon is 1/6 Earth's gravity. I know that. I don't know what the fuck that means. It, walking around. I don't have a real connection to it.
You can't apply it to anything, so yeah.
So when do you show your kids, there's a lot of videos that I watch while I close my laptop and the kids come near, like violent videos. Especially like animal. Like I was watching this video of these hyenas tearing apart this gazelle. Oh, it's fucking horrific. They're ripping the guts out and yanking on the guts, and this thing is making these weird noises like, and they're just pulling chunks of its guts out, yanking on it. I'm like, fuck. And then my little girl comes over and I slam and she's like, what are you watching? And I go, I'm watching a hyena rip apart a gazelle's guts. She's like, oh, okay, I don't want to see that.
All right, yeah. Well, yeah. So, but kind of what's the difference between that and showing you hunting? Like, is there
I'm doing it quick. That's one difference.
Yeah, okay.
When I shoot an animal, if I shoot an animal with a bow, it's dead in seconds.
Yeah.
You know, if with a well-placed shot, it's not going anywhere. It's like the last elk I shot, that one that's right out there on the floor in front of the werewolf, that thing died in 5 yards. It walked 5 yards, tipped over, feet up in the air. I shot it right in the heart.
Wow.
It was a perfect shot. So it was almost instantaneous death. It might have lived 15, 20 seconds. And that was it.
People, I don't know. People don't seem to be shocked that much anymore. I know, trying to keep it from your kids and things like that obviously makes sense, but it's almost impossible to keep some really horrific shit from people.
Well, especially if you give your kid a phone.
Yeah, yeah. You're giving them access to a lot of nasty stuff. And I remember when I was a kid, the big thing was like Faces of Death.
Yeah.
You want to go get Faces of Death, man? We'll watch it. It's crazy. Guys, they beat up a monkey and cut his head off and eat the brains and everything. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of fake. And you could tell the staged things. And I think the only real stuff was like news footage of airline disasters and accidents and stuff.
Well, there was one that was real where these guys somewhere in the Middle East tied these guys' arms to one car and his legs to another one, and they pulled them apart.
I cannot like watch that shit. It's terrible. And now in stunning HD, you can see, snuff films years ago was kind of an urban myth,
Right.
It was a thing. Now they're readily available to anybody in a matter of seconds. And I don't know what kind of effect that has on people and maybe society, but and there's really nothing you could do. Pandora's like out. So I think it's affecting people though.
Oh, it's definitely
desensitizing.
I mean, that's the argument about video games as well, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That we're seeing so much violence and committing violence in video games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Jamie, what was that video game where the guy got in trouble because he made a video of him torturing some women's rights?
Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what.
He punched a woman in the face that was protesting for women's rights to vote, suffrage. And and he got in trouble because he posted it, and it was like a violent thing against women. But
it's a thing you can do in the game.
Right.
Like they made it in the game so you could do that on purpose.
And once it became viral, people started going up to her in the game and doing even more terrible things. There's one where a guy ropes her, hog ties her, throws her on the back of the horse, rides her to a swamp, and throws her to an alligator, which then eats her in the swamp.
That is so crazy that you can do that.
It's
the alligator
unbelievable.
Will
the alligator will eat. And it's not even a thing like, hey, do this. It's just part of the game that they said, well, if people want to do it, it's a very open-ended game. Rockstar went bullshit with this game. It's amazing.
Does it always happen the exact same way? Or do you throw it in
there are
different spots in the water and the alligator has a different way of eating?
Yeah, there are different animations for the same thing. So, and different, actually, there was one, you'll be riding next to a guy that you're supposed to ride somewhere with. And the guy says something like, all right, we're almost there, or something. And if you're far away from the guy, he yells it. All right, we're almost there. And if he's right next to you, he goes, well, we're almost there. Like the guy, the voice actor, had to do a shitload of takes based on what the animation is. So
I did the voiceover for the UFC game.
Right,
and it took forever.
Yeah.
I mean, forever. You're there for days and days and days reading every single variation of a head kick to an arm bar to a takedown to ground and pound to TKO stoppage to kicking someone in the nuts, like everything.
And someone's got to fucking put that together, and then it's got to be coded where it plays at the right time. It really is amazing. Yeah, it's goddamn amazing.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
But Red Dead's like really insane.
Is this it?
There's
what is this? This is the bear?
Yeah, this is
the guy apart?
a bear.
Oh, and this guy's just smoking a cigar?
Yeah. Dude, it's so funny, the things that go on in this game, the ability to kill people. I had Luis J. Gomez on the show, and he plays this. And there's like a morality direction you could take. You could either be a good guy, a bad guy, really good, really bad, and it will affect how the course of the game. And whether you're wanted, whether people are nice to you.
Really?
Yeah. Like you could do a favor for somebody. You'd be riding somewhere and someone will go, please, could you help me out? And if
is
you
this
help
the
them,
women's rights activist?
Not her, but he's going to throw this lady off of the mountain.
And this is just some guy online has done this?
I think this is the same YouTube guy he's got a lot of videos where he's doing
geez, he fell.
different things.
Oh, he fell. He fell himself. He was trying to kick her off and he fell.
Oh, haha.
But and Lewis apparently would kill everybody. He killed a guy's dog and skinned it in front of him and then shot him in the face. I'm like, that's really mean. That's really
skin
mean.
The dog in front of the guy?
Yeah. And the guy's just like crying.
It's crazy.
It's brutal.
I mean, do you think that most politicians or most people looking for outrage are just not aware of this yet?
Yeah. Absolutely not. Years ago, they were kind of like, well, it must be violent video games. And it was so funny because like 10 years after Doom, like they're showing Doom on TV, like, oh, that's the bad video game. It's like, Jesus Christ, that's nothing. What are you talking about? And now, like I said,
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Same guys.
Yeah. GTA. I did some of the voices in GTA 4 and 5. It was fucking hilarious. So I know, to do that. I sang some of the promotional songs for the beer, Pisswasser beer. It was great. I know Laszlo, who does all the sound for the games. But this thing sold like $750 million in the first 3 days that it came out.
What is this, Jamie? Yeah. What happens if you bring a black man to the KKK?
Yeah.
They have fucking KKK rallies.
There's a Klan
now?
rally going on.
There's a part of the game where you have to infiltrate.
So what happens when you bring a black guy?
Nothing different happened, really.
The Klan.
Nothing?
No.
They don't freak out?
Not in particular. They didn't react any differently.
But the job, I think the mission here is to just kill all the Klan guys. It's not like you join up and have a good time.
It seems like it would be more realistic as if you brought a black guy to the Klan meeting, they try to kill the black guy.
Right.
But that would be real
That would be crazy. There are some weird parts in it where they're very misogynistic because it's supposed to be like 1899 or something.
Right.
And it's very misogynistic. And then there's some race references that they make that are kind of like, oof, wow, that's bold.
Like, what do they say?
About black guy, like they'll call him boy. In some of the when a guy like a non-player character will pass by and be kind of nasty, and they never present it in a good way. It's not like oh cool, this guy's great. It's always some scumbag character.
Wow.
Yeah,
Video games it's like the last frontier for chaos right now.
Yeah, it really is, and I think because there's such a lack of awareness on the part of a lot of people. Like I get games the day they come out. Actually, before I get alpha testing, beta testing. I'm playing the games months before they come out.
Really?
Yeah, I love it. I fucking.
How do you get in on that?
You sign up for the ultimate package on Origin or Steam, and you get access to the games when they're testing them.
Oh, so you just pay?
Yeah. It's a pay thing. Obviously, they want to make some money, and I want to play the games early. But
so you report bugs and things on
yeah. You just play. They automatically kind of have something in place that will let them know if there's a problem. Or you can email them and say, hey, I died and I'm stuck in a rock now up to my waist.
Have you ever talked to some of the people that make those things? You ever have them on your show?
Yeah. Laszlo works at Rockstar. He's the sound engineer guy. He records all the sound, but he's involved in like every aspect of all those games from the beginning of Grand Theft Auto, the first Red Dead 2. And it's amazing. I've been to Rockstar in New York and took a tour of the place, and it's just a bunch of fucking nerds sitting around. They have a day where you can bring your dogs in, and it's all wide open, no cubicles or anything. The guys that run it are these English guys, and they're brilliant, or New Zealand or something. They have that accent. One of those weird accents that you can't tell where it's from.
They work insane hours too.
Yeah, that's it. They are dedicated. Like a game like a Rockstar game, GTA or that, it's so above other games. Like you can't even. I've played some shitty games where I download it, I start playing, and within 5 minutes I'm like, fuck, this sucks. Like it just, it sucks.
Right.
And Rockstar games are just, it sounds like I'm doing a spot for them, but they're so above everything else. The animation, the sandbox quality where you're able to just run around and do shit. Like that's an appeal that people don't like feeling like they're on a track in a game. And certain games are like that. Like Call of Duty is very track based. You play online a lot against other people. They're small maps. But a game like that, you could just go off. If you want to, you could just spend time fishing. Like you could just get tackle and go to a lake and fish.
And you catch fish?
You catch fish. You catch fish.
Spend 8 hours just catching fish.
Just fishing, hunting. You could go out and hunt.
I've heard that.
You track like the bear, and that motherfucker can get you. I love games like that, though. I love open-ended games. I always liked that shit. Even when I was back in the 80s, my cousin got a Atari 800 computer, and it had a cartridge for a game called Star Raiders. And this was like right after Star Wars came out. And I was fascinated because it wasn't just a joystick and a button. that you got on an arcade game. It was you used the keyboard, like for warp drive, or you had a dock with a space station at one point, and you're going in orbit around a planet. Like there was all these things that you used the keyboard for, and I thought that was amazing. Like I don't like just a run and gun type thing.
Right.
I like being able to use a lot of different keys and have a lot of options.
How much time do you spend playing video games?
Dude,
Because now I'm getting the impression.
It's insane. There have been days where I have weekends or something where I have played from maybe 2 p.m. till 3 a.m. Like 12, 13 hours of playing. It's
No eating?
yeah. I'll eat
Have a little snack?
a little snack. I'll order something, or Missy will make something. She's playing video games too, though. Like I'll be playing on the computer that's in front of me on the table I was talking about in the living room, and then on the big screen TV, which is in front of me on the wall, she's sitting in like a folding chair with a TV tray playing Red Dead Redemption on the Xbox. So we're just occasionally look back and go, "How you doing?" Back there. Oh, you got to see this great kill.
There's a funny video of a couple engaging in virtual reality, and they're having sex, and the girl's blowing the guy, and in the video, Joey Diaz comes in the room and starts sucking the guy's dick.
Oh shit!
I think it was a TV show.
That's hilarious.
on a
That was
TV
it
show,
for?
yeah,
That was
yeah.
it for?
There was there is VR porn. Have you checked
Yeah.
that out?
I haven't.
It's really interesting. There is some that is pretty amazing. Like a girl will come up, like you're laying on your back, and a girl is in the room. She takes her clothes off and comes up on you and gets right by your ear and like whispers something. And you hear it. You almost feel the breath on you. It's that fucking crazy. And you feel like you can reach and touch, but there's no one there. But and again, you can't even get close to showing what it's like on a regular flat screen. But when you put that in, it's a real space. It's 3D, and they look pretty real. Aside from the resolution difference, because when you magnify something that close to your eyes, the pixels get bigger too. So it's not quite there, but you could see where that's going. You get that and one of those fucking fleshlights. you don't have to leave home.
I used a really early version of the HTC Vive many years ago. Duncan had one. My friend Duncan Trussell had one in his house, and it was really pixelated, and it was very strange. It was just a real simple game, and it was real blocky looking. It looked like old Doom or something like
Right.
that. But it was in complete 3 dimensions, and so I was looking up and looking all around. I was like, wow, this is kind of crazy. And then I went back to his place like 2 years later, and there had been a gigantic leap in improvement. And now the leap is sort of balanced out. It hasn't gotten that much better yet.
Right, yet. Yeah. There are a few games that I love playing on the Oculus, because it's like flying games are incredible. And if you have a really good system with, I have like dual 1080 Ti graphics cards. One of them is insane to have. And my system has 2 of them. And so I could run everything on Ultra.
So do you prefer videos on a computer?
Yeah. I prefer PC, but I'll play on Xbox and stuff. It's pretty cool. I'm terrible with a controller.
Yeah, that's the problem, right?
So,
a mouse and a keyboard are so much more precise.
I always say, I go, if anyone ever argues, I go, I've never missed a folder on my desktop.
Yeah.
I've never gone, oh shit, I missed it.
Right.
But there's something called an Zim Apex that you plug into an Xbox or a PlayStation and then plug keyboard and mouse into it. You're running on Xbox with a keyboard and mouse. So... And it's so good. I destroy people when I play on that.
Of course. There's so much more accuracy.
So much more accuracy, and you're just quicker reflexes. And
yeah, because I came from the online video game days of the early 2000s and the 90s. Like, it was always computers.
Yeah, mouse and keyboard was it. Console was for babies.
Yeah. Well, they weren't good back then. And
No.
accuracy was terrible.
Yeah, when I play some of the like combat flying games, they have things now that are, you look like you're in the cockpit of a plane. All the gauges work. They have reflections of light coming through. I mean, the ground looks amazing. And in VR, when you pull the stick back and turn, because I use a joystick and a throttle, it's amazing. you can look over your shoulder, and now you're seeing your wing and the ground, and you're pulling back, and you get dizzy. Like, you get so fucking dizzy. And crashes are startling. like if you lose control and you plow into the ground, you kind of jump. Because I think it's that primal part of your head going, like, accepting what it's seeing.
I wonder if that would be a really good way to learn how to fly. I would imagine it would be.
That guy that stole that plane up in, was it Portland? Mm-hmm. Recently?
Seattle?
Yes,
the one
Seattle.
That slammed into the island and killed himself?
Yeah, killed himself.
Yeah.
He said he learned how to fly on a flight simulator. Microsoft Flight Simulator X is like unbelievable.
And he was doing like loop-de-loops in the sky and shit.
Yeah, he's like, let's see if we could do a loop.
And he was saying, I'm going to kill myself, right?
Oh, yeah. He's like, I think I'll try to do a loop and then nose it in and call it a day. It's like, what a maniac. But the fact that he could get access and take off like that is kind of scary.
Whoops.
We all think, everything's so secure.
Yeah.
Remember when we thought there were like missiles on the roof of the White House and the Pentagon and stuff? And then after 9/11, you're like, I guess not. Yeah, I guess that was all bullshit.
The actual Pentagon got hit.
Yeah,
by a plane.
By a fucking plane. Although now you're going to get a lot of people writing that
Wasn't a plane, bro.
It was a missile. Everyone knows it. You're a gatekeeper.
Yeah. You're a shill.
You're a shill for the... You, doesn't... who does your show that is a flat earther?
Eddie Bravo.
Eddie Bravo, that's it.
I don't know if he's still a flat earther. He might have abandoned it.
He might have moved on.
What do you think? Think he's still? Yeah. He thought the Earth is a disc. Maybe he said, I don't want to misinterpret what he's saying. I don't want to misrepresent. I think he was saying he doesn't know, but he doesn't believe NASA.
Because it's only someone's word over history.
Eddie likes that. He thinks it's fun. He thinks conspiracies are fun. That's
well, they
part of
are.
it. Yeah.
They are kind of fun. But that flat earth one, I realized I was arguing with flat earthers on Twitter, and that's when I really started going like, what am I doing?
Yeah, you can't.
What am I doing? Why am I engaging that?
That is like the dumbest version of I know you are, but what am I for the rest of time? That's how stupid that argument is.
It's crazy. I was arguing with somebody, and then I had my show to do, and Neil deGrasse Tyson was taping his show in my studio before I came on. So he was in the lobby when I was in our green room when I was on, and I start talking about it, and I go, let's get someone in here maybe that might have an opinion on this. Neil deGrasse Tyson coming, and apparently he gets shit all the time from flat earthers saying that it's, he's full of shit.
Do you know it all started off as a goof?
It had to, just like everything else.
But it started off on 4chan.
Did it?
Yeah.
Like free bleeding?
Yes, exactly. Free
Which
bleeding.
is hilarious.
People explain that to people who don't know.
Free bleeding is a woman's rights thing. And it's instead of using a tampon during their period or a pad, they just bleed through their pants and show it proudly that they will walk around bleeding. And it was never real. It was never a real thing. And then people saw it and thought it was real. Like they put it out there, 4chan, and people actually believed it.
And no, not just believed it, started
doing it. Yes, they started doing it for real.
Yeah,
they turned it into something.
A women's rights badge of honor to have a pair of white pants on with a giant patch of brownish red in the center.
It's insane. It's crazy.
It just shows you how easily manipulated people are. There's so many things that happen like that on 4chan that turn out to be goofs. They start out as goofs.
Yeah.
And then listen, we were talking about this last time I was with you.
Right.
The Proud Boys.
Yeah.
Started
Gavin.
off as a goof and then became like they won't let him in Australia now. Have you seen that?
No, it's gotten insane.
Yeah.
Like Gavin is considered like a war criminal at this point. I know Gavin very well. He used to be on Compound Media, my network, and that's where the whole thing started.
Explain how it all started. Explain how it all started, because people don't know.
It's amazing when you think about it, because it makes you question everything. Like how did Nazi Germany start? Was that a joke? Was that like Stalinism and everything in Russia? Gavin had a show, very outrageous. Gavin is one of these, just a funny, outrageous guy. His whole career has been based on satire and parody and
he's
all
very
that.
much a provocateur.
Right, provocateur.
Loves
Absolutely.
doing that.
Yeah, loves
And
shaking
it's
people
hard
up.
to find out how he really feels and when he's playing games.
Right.
It's very blurry.
Absolutely. So we had this employee, Ben Ratner. Little kid, we actually hired him just because his name was Ratner, and we wanted to call him Rat, like in Fast Times. Hey, Rat, why don't you turn on the camera? So it was great. Rat never talked about girls. He's like this really Jewish, real red hair, kind of gangly, kid, and he liked going to Broadway shows and things, and we always questioned his sexuality and whatnot. And Gavin really started hitting on him, going, "What are you doing? Like, get laid. A kid your age should be out there just fucking plowing through pussy." And he's like, "Well, I'm, waiting for the right girl and everything." So Gavin would continuously goof on him. So he would always go to Broadway plays. So Gavin started getting music from musicals and playing it to him, like, "Hey, look at this, you pussy. Is this what you like?" And one of them was "Proud of Your Boy." It's a song from a musical, a Disney musical, I believe. And it's, "Oh, proud of your boy." It's one of those big, grandiose Broadway pieces of shit. I can't stand that stuff, man. I hate it.
It's so confusing.
Oh, it is. It's terrible. So he goofed on about that and then said, we ought to make a club called the Proud Boys, and that way you can learn how to be a man. And, you'll get chicks and tattoos and, drink beer and hang out with guys. As a joke, it was like this parody of a men's club, and so over the top that it was like, I think part of the way to get beaten into this gang, this club, was that you had to recite 5 breakfast cereals while the other members punched you, and they would keep punching you until you spit out. So ludicrous, so ridiculous, such a parody. And slowly this fucking thing mutated into something. It got more members. They started wearing what are those shirts? With the yellow piping on the collar and stuff. It's a specific shirt that became the uniform. Perry Ellis. Perry Ellis shirts. A specific black shirt with gold piping and on the collar and the sleeves. And that became like the uniform. And because it was presented as a chauvinistic club, like girls are allowed, minorities are allowed, it doesn't matter who you are, but in essence, it is a guy thing, and we will talk shit about girls, and we're going to drink and get laid, and it's just a men thing. So they started getting together at bars, in the area in Manhattan.
And how is this organized? Is this organized through his Compound Media Show?
Through the Compound Media Show
So
and
he was-
his own Twitter account and Facebook, which he subsequently lost.
Yeah.
He's persona non grata on social media. But that's how it started. And it never was supposed to go any further than that. Gavin himself didn't really take it any further than that. It's just, let's get together every so often. We have a good time. We drink, laugh, everything like that. Well, then this whole thing with politics got involved because Antifa, which is anti-fascist, started coming into conservatives that wanted to speak. So Gavin was a conservative, is a conservative. He'd get speaking engagements at schools, NYU, or any numerous places around New York City. And Antifa would show up to protest him and try to shut down the event. So then the Proud Boys would go and protect Gavin so he wouldn't get harmed doing these speaking engagements. So then it turned into this, because they're fighting with Antifa, they must be the fascists,
Right.
the Nazis. And once that gets out there, there's no pulling it back. You could try to explain how you're not a Nazi till you're blue in the fucking face. It ain't going away.
Right.
And especially because it's a good story. The press likes it. It's this good versus evil thing. They present Antifa like they're protest. They always call them, and the protesters were beaten. They're fucking violent, a violent group of people that are there to hit people they don't agree with and silence people that want to speak. And that's exactly what happened with Gavin and Coulter and Milo Yiannopoulos. Ben Shapiro, a lot of these conservative people can't go to these venues and speak. They get shut down because of a violent group of people called Antifa. So Proud Boys were kind of the answer to that, so Gavin could go around and actually speak. Well, when that happened, more people came on board because they kind of liked to beat people up. When you have a group of people, and one of their missions is now to beat up people you don't agree with politically.
When there was tiers,
well,
there was tiers to the membership. Like the highest tier was you fought for the cause.
Right.
You had to actually get in a fist fight.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure Gavin thought was like, I've talked to Gavin. I like Gavin. I've had Gavin on the podcast.
Yeah.
And the last time I had him on, I didn't know what this whole thing was. And so he was explaining the Proud Boys, and he was talking to me about, we're going to punch them. We're going to punch people.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. And I was like, you can't just punch people. Like they punch back, and then they get mad that you punched them, and then they shoot you when you get out of your car.
Right.
This escalates. People don't just take it.
Well, it was never supposed to be an offensive punching. When I would speak to Gavin, and every example I would see, it was an answer to violence. They would have violence perpetrated on them.
The problem
they
is you can
answered
take
with
it out
violence.
of context, and all people needed to say is he's calling for violence.
That's it.
And that's what they've said about Gavin over and over again.
Right.
Taking things out of context and using it as an example.
The other problem being that the Antifa people are a lot of skinny dudes and chicks with masks on, and they are not really that adept at fighting.
There's a horrible video of this one Antifa guy tries to hit someone with, it looks like some kind of a stick or a pipe.
Yeah.
And the guy catches it and fucking blasts him on the chin.
He
and
fucking put him down.
And his head bounces off the concrete unconscious, which is how a lot of people die.
Yeah, exactly. That's how people die in fights. Like, he killed him with his bare hands. Yeah, he hit his fucking head on.
Yeah, he hit his head on the concrete. You got hit by the world.
Yeah.
It's literally the world.
Right.
The back of your head. It's not going to budge.
Gravity has punched you in the back of the head.
Yeah. So
yes,
these people have this idea that they're going to go places, they're going to shut everybody down, and because they're in a group, they're going to scream and yell and hit people with bike locks and all this stuff that we've all seen.
Yeah.
The weird thing is that that's from the left. That was never from the left before. When I was a kid, I grew up when I was from age 7 to 11 during the Vietnam War.
Yep.
I lived in San Francisco, and I was around the real hippies. And I remember being a little kid in my formative times, like there were flower children. I mean, they were the hippies and the lefties were love and peace and no violence, and everyone was doing acid. Okay?
Right.
And now they're all on Adderall, and they're hitting people with bike locks.
It's
a different thing.
There was a time where the liberals, the hippies, they were the ones that when there would be a demonstration and the National Guard would show up, they'd be putting flowers in the barrels of the guns. There are famous pictures of that. And then Kent State was a bunch of hippies literally getting shot by
the National Guard.
The National Guard.
Yeah.
That has completely flipped around. It's the weirdest thing. And I don't know how it got distinguished where Proud Boys became this evil group of people and Antifa is the good group of people. Now, I understand that Proud Boys were infiltrated by white nationalists, Nazi, white supremacists, whatever it is, but those were constantly being disavowed by Gavin. Gavin never wanted any of that happening.
But is there a way? How do you get in, though? Here's the question. Because this is you saw my last comedy special. This is my criticism about vegans. It's not that there's anything wrong with being a vegan. It's that when you have a group where anybody can join, you're going to get a certain amount of fucking idiots.
Right.
If you have 1 million people, for sure, you have 100,000 fucking idiots.
Yes.
There's no getting around that.
Yeah.
So if you have a group where anybody can join, and you have 1 million people in that group, you're going to have 100,000 fucking idiots.
Fucking idiots.
And those people are going to define your group. The worst behavior in that group is where people are going to call to as an example.
That's it.
I think this is also a symptom of the social media era today, especially with Twitter, because you can't express yourself and explain things in 140 or 280 characters. It just takes too much time. So they can say, oh, Proud Boys, racist scumbag Nazi Gavin, and they're like, oh, he's a racist scumbag Nazi. And then all of a sudden, that's the narrative, and everybody keeps pushing it.
And
that's you see the videos of people punching little skinny people. Oh, look at these people. They beat up the Antifa. These fucking assholes, and Gavin's an asshole.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. I've seen it presented, you ask how it starts and how it grows and how you become a member by buying a fucking shirt.
That's it.
By buying a Perry Ellis shirt and opening a chapter. Dude, there are chapters worldwide. You see it. It's like, here's the Proud Boys Australia. Here's the Proud Boys England. Proud Boys fucking Japan. Like, it's everywhere. And it never was supposed to get to that point. And regardless of how these people act, it now reflects on Gavin. Even though he wanted to hang out in a bar with a few people, do his public speaking without being hassled, and that's it. And I see the way the media manipulates things. I've been party to it myself. And I've seen Gavin presented in photos where you look and go, holy fuck, it's Hitler. Like they get him. There's one picture of Gavin that I was petrified by. He's got his arms folded. He's got a scowl on his face. That hair, the short on the side, long on the top. And he's looking like he's angry. And I'm like, that's not the guy that him and his wife, who's American Indian, by the way.
Yeah.
His wife's American Indian. He's got beautiful kids that come over my house and use the pool and we hang out and barbecue. I'm like, that's not that guy.
Yeah.
No one knows that guy from the paper. They're getting this impression. He's a really nice guy. He's generous, just a really cool guy to hang out with. And what you see them do in the media is just crazy, especially when you know he didn't invent some goddamn Nazi group. He was just trying to have a little outrageous fun, and it ran from him. It got away from him.
The origin of it, though, the way you're describing it, that is fucking fantastic.
Isn't that nuts
It's
to think?
It's crazy that is what presented it. I mean, that emerged.
It
came
goof.
out of that.
We fuck with Rat all the time because we go, can you believe the inspiration for the Proud Boys is this little Jewish kid?
Where is that guy? Is there a photo of him online?
I'm sure there is.
Pull it up.
Rat, Compound Media Rat. You'll probably find him.
How much does this weird you out, though, that Compound Media was the source of all this? And now you're
It
seeing
is weird. And it's one of those things you worry about. I don't want to then be tied, because I know how it works. Yeah. I love Gavin, but I don't want to be tied to the Proud Boys at this point. You know, I got my own fucking problems through history. I don't need any more piled on me.
Well, what was that thing that I sent you? There he is.
That's
wow.
Rat. I guess that was Halloween.
Look at you. What's a spiffy,
I was wearing
spiffy suit?
I was the mayor from Jaws.
Oh,
Mayor Vaughn. I was for Halloween. That's awesome.
That's the guy that started the Proud Boys.
He started the Proud Boys.
That is
he looks like a
crazy.
1938 propaganda poster.
He's a little cutie. Looks like he's in a Norman Rockwell painting.
That's it.
He should be there with like a guy who's handing him an apple pie.
Yeah. And that's the face of the new Nazi movement.
See, I think there's a lot of mistakes were made. You know? But Gavin's made some mistakes, and like his whole thing of blurring the lines between parody and honesty.
Yes.
He thinks it's fun. It's very punk rock.
Yes.
You know, like he came last time he was on the podcast, which was a few years back. He came on dressed like Michael Douglas from Falling Down. He had a briefcase. He brought the suit, like the short sleeve shirt.
He dresses like that all the time now. Like he goes around. I just did a Skype interview with him yesterday, 2 days ago, from the hotel room. And he's got the pocket protector and the pens and the glasses. Yeah, like Falling Down.
He thinks it's funny. Well, people need to understand, and this is true. He is the godfather of the hipsters.
Yeah, you put in godfather of hipsters in Google, he comes up. Yeah.
All of that wardrobe that guys are wearing, they look like they're wearing old-timey suits with the skinny ties.
Yeah.
That's Gavin McGinnis.
Yep.
He literally started that fashion trend in Williamsburg.
Yeah.
And it took off from there. The hipster dress, the way people would dress with those weird mustaches and all that shit, that literally came out of Gavin.
Which is amazing. The motherfucker is
picture.
like a there's something like magnetic about the guy. He is what a cult leader is. Like he could just start a cult, which in essence, by accident, he did.
Yeah.
Between the hipsters and then this, he's one of those guys like Gavin, why didn't you start a cult where you get to fuck the people's wives? Like that kind of cult. Why do you go with?
Well, he also did some really good interviews online.
Yeah.
Where he would trick these leftists into sitting down with him in interviews, and then along the way, they were having this conversation, it would be exposed that he didn't agree with them at all,
Right.
and they were trapped. Like this hardcore feminist got trapped with him, and
Yeah.
a couple other people got trapped in this room with him.
Yeah.
And they realized like halfway, like some of the line of questioning and the way he's approaching things, like, oh my God, like he's an interesting guy.
He's very interesting.
And outside of this Proud Boys thing, if you never invented that,
Yeah.
and never did any of that, he would be doing great.
Yeah, although he had a problem with one of his own companies that he made after Vice. They bought him out of Vice because Shane turned more liberal and it wasn't really, they weren't really meshing anymore over there at Vice. So they kind of just bought out Gavin. He got a lot of money and decided to do his own thing. He had an advertising firm, I guess it was.
Yeah.
And then he got the boot from that for making transgender comments.
Well, he was talking about how
opinions.
transgender people have mental health
Health issues.
And he was bringing up all these. Here's the problem. He was saying some things that are correct.
Yeah.
This is-
Interspersed with, again,
Yes.
parody and sarcasm.
But in his mind, this was like this is something you can talk about where it was in the public's eye, particularly during the Caitlyn Jenner the whole thing. People had decided that transgender was amazing. It's amazing. It's beautiful. She's incredible. And he was saying, no, these are people that are mentally ill. And there's a website that he was pointing to. I think it's called Transgender Regrets or something like that.
Yeah.
Where they have all these stories of all these men who turned into women and then turned back to men again. Now they don't have dicks.
Oh, Jesus.
And they have to take testosterone injections, and they hate their life. Wow. And there's some of them who did it like when they were in their 60s, and now they're in their 70s and trying to be a man again. And that
That's
gender
tough.
dysphoria was thought to be a mental health issue, like anorexia, like a lot of other.
Right.
There's body dysphoria. I mean, people have weird, bodybuilders get it. They never think they're big enough. Like,
Right. Yeah.
People
yeah.
have like weird perceptions of their physical presence in their being, and some. I had a psychologist, Dr. Deborah So, who was discussing late onset gender dysphoria in autistic girls. That autistic teenage girls, they don't feel like they fit in, and people can convince them that they're actually a man.
Wow.
And so a lot of them start taking hormones and going through transition and then
shit.
have massive regrets. And then unfortunately for women, especially when you're a teenager and you're going through puberty and you take hormones, you literally start developing male features. Your face gets harder and thicker and wider. Your shoulders get bigger, like the whole deal. Your hands,
Yeah.
your clit grows the size of a thumb. So you make these irreversible changes, or unless you know. So
You just described
he was
Jim Norton's dream girl.
yeah, perfect. He's a perfect Jim Norton. I love him to death. He's a perfect
great.
example too of someone who's bulletproof because that's what he is.
He's charming, like in his fucking debauchery. He's a charming guy.
Yes.
Girls love him and think he's adorable when he's saying some of the most heinous shit on stage and on the air and stuff.
But you know where he's coming from.
Yeah.
like-
There's no mistaking. Like he wears everything on his sleeve.
Yeah.
So he wrote the foreword in my book.
Nice.
Permanently Suspended. He wrote the foreword.
Well,
He
how
knows
come-
me like it's my brother first, and then Jim Norton.
Yeah.
Like Jim knows me really well. We're really good friends, and I love the guy.
Why didn't you guys wind up doing a show together when Opie and Anthony crashed?
I think, look, I can't blame anybody because I think that having the security of a steady paycheck as opposed to the guy that just got thrown off of everything, starting his own thing, it probably wasn't all that appealing to Jimmy, who, you just bought a new place in the city and everything. It wasn't the right time. And then, as time went on, he became the go-to guy over at Sirius from the Opie and Anthony show. So I would love to. And I do his Chip Chipperson show. And, we're doing one in Philly next week, the
Chip
live show.
Chipperson?
Yeah, we've been doing these live shows on Long Island. We did one up in Boston. And it's hilarious.
bizarre character.
Dude, he comes out and the crowd goes fucking wild. And he's got to be in character the whole time. It's got to kill him. It's got to kill him. and it's so much fun to do. I love playing the straight guy co-host to his fucking insane character. But yeah, we've done these live shows, and they're really a lot of fun. And he's a great guy. There he is.
The fucking outfit. Oh my God.
It's so ridiculous. He's got to stay in. Look at those pants.
Yeah, that is hilarious.
Dude, the place is like packed, and it's crazy.
What are you guys reading? What are the notes?
Oh, he wanted us to. He wrote like a almost a play, but it's all just kissing Chip's ass and how wonderful Chip is and how thankful we are to be there. Like, it's so goddamn funny. I love it. He's brilliant, man. He's just a great guy and very fucking funny. I knew from the first. I think that also kind of. I'm not blaming Jimmy or anything, but I think that helped to kind of break up the O&A show in time. I think Opie started resenting a little bit of that camaraderie that me and Jimmy were having. Me and Jimmy kind of slowly started pulling away and doing our own thing. Like, it was, and the humor is, the more twisted, the better. I love sick humor. He does too, and we laugh. We did a whole bit on like Lacey Peterson and Scott Peterson, the murder. Yeah, and you would think, like, obviously he murdered his pregnant wife and dumped her in the ocean. What could possibly be funny about that? Well, people wrote tribute songs. This guy wrote a tribute song to her, and another one of these self-centered assholes that thought he was going to go viral by making a tribute song. And we started changing the words to the song to make it just horrible, involving seaweed and things like that. So it was terrible. But me and Jim are literally crying, laughing, and Opie's just kind of sitting there, like, not really able to jump in or not kind of getting why we're laughing at this sick shit. So it kind of pushed us further apart. At that point, yeah. We both, as people, changed over the course of the 20 years we worked together. 20 fucking years with anybody, dude, is nuts. You get a girl that suck your dick every day for 20 years, you're going to be like, oh, fuck, stop sucking my dick. But now think it's Opie across from me, Yeah. So you're going to get on each other's nerves. And I'm not innocent in the whole thing either. But I'm a lot more laid back. Like, I knew what real work was. I worked for a fucking living. I did heating and air conditioning installation, and it was freezing cold in the winter and boiling hot in the summer. And when I got that first gig in radio, because of Opie, and I'll always thank him for that, I knew what it was like to work, and I didn't want to fuck that up. So I plastered a smile on my face at every turn and did the show. 4 hours a day. Everyone has someone at work that they don't get along with. You don't leave. You don't fucking, you just deal with it. And that's 8 hours. I had another 20 hours of the day that didn't involve Greg Opie Hughes. So I could deal with it. He was more like he had to express himself a little more, which I guess is healthy in a way, but I didn't need to. So I didn't text him. I didn't call him. We got in an argument once, and he goes, dude, you never even been to my house. And I go, all right. Get everyone from the show in here. Jim, have I ever been to the house? Nope. Travis? No. Sam? No. E-Rock? No. I've never been to anyone's house.
Let me tell you something right now.
Yeah.
That's something a chick would say.
I know.
Have you ever been to my house?
Dude, it's exactly
You've never
that
even been to my house.
type of relationship.
What does that mean?
What does it even mean?
Moon. I've never been to Africa. What the fuck are you saying?
I've never been to Spain.
What does that have to do with anything that if you had a problem with me not coming to your house, why didn't you ask me to come to your house?
Yeah.
Like, is there you asking me every day and I'm saying no every day?
And I'm saying no, right.
What's going on?
It was always something like that. And believe me, I'm not going to sit here and shit on the guy. My show's for that. I'm not going to... I'm fucking around. I'm not going to shit on the guy, but there were definitely personality quirks that I guess we both had. But there was something like, if I would party all the time, and I had to be there at 6 a.m. and I'm driving from Roslyn, Long Island to New York City. It's 25, 30 miles of just fucked traffic every day.
How long would it take you to get there?
It could be 35 minutes. It could be an hour and a half, based on if someone's pulled over on the side of the road, some asshole crashes in Queens, whatever it was It was a shit drive every day.
And you had to be there at 6, right?
6 o'clock, the show started.
And so even at 6, there'd be that kind of traffic?
Yeah. It wasn't as bad as it got at like 7 or 8, but you never really knew.
Right.
It could. I was never late, but there were times I'd come in at 5 after. 8 after 6 was pretty much as late as I would be. It was never more than that. But he would go, like, he never had to say anything. Like, the music starts, there's a little bumper at the beginning, and by the time it starts, I'd sit down. And he, on mic, would go, well, I guess there was traffic. Anthony just getting in, and now the bosses are listening. And it just wasn't necessary to do that. You know, it kind of, I was like,
he
dude,
wanted something
you gotta
to talk about.
Guys don't do that. Guys don't do that to each other. You fucking sit down, don't say a word. No one would know I'm late, you know? And that's what happened. And there were instances like that all the time. It's all in my book, Permanently Suspended.
Is that book out now?
It's out now. Yeah. Borders, Barnes and Noble.
Green room. I think we have a copy in the green room.
Ah, yes. Very good. But I talk.
No, it's at my house. It's in my house.
I talk a lot about obviously the relationship and with Opie and how it kind of slowly came apart at the seams. I think toward the end, he just had it. He didn't want to do a show with me anymore. I don't think he wanted to do a show with Jimmy either. That didn't last long, and I knew it wasn't going to last long. I was the buffer between the two of them.
That ended bad.
It really did. It really did.
Like if you talk to Jimmy about it, like like he doesn't express that kind of
no, he doesn't. Like Jimmy's a very loyalty driven guy. Like he takes that very seriously, and if he feels somebody's fucking with him, he really gets pissed. Usually it can get talked out and everything's cool after a little while. But this one, this is bad.
It didn't work. Yeah. But, no. I think, honestly, the way you guys interacted with each other, what he was good for was sort of directing the whole thing.
Right.
That's the impression that I got. I mean, how many times did I do the show? Dozens, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I did it.
Absolutely.
But I always felt like what he did really well was like sort of guide things, like sit back more. Let you guys be funny, but guide, like figure out, like maybe we need more of this, maybe we need more of that.
Yeah,
and there was real value to that.
Absolutely, but do you think that's fun when you go out and do an appearance and everyone's clamoring about a bit that me and Jimmy did or something?
For him, you mean?
And he's sitting there going like, "Well, I pushed a button and I drove the ship and I went to spots and
if he knew." It's funny because you're not going to be appreciated as much, but it's like a guy who is good at defense but he doesn't score a lot of points.
Yeah,
you're not going to be LeBron James.
It's necessary.
The guys who score the points though are the ones who everybody wants to talk to. You know?
Yeah, you ever see I think of Opie like you ever see The Prestige, the movie The Prestige, with the two magicians?
No,
it's a good movie. So. It's a good movie. But at one point, because he has to use a body double, the actual magician has to drop below the stage, and the body double comes out and gets all the applause. And he's under the stage. The real guy that did the whole act is under the stage, and he shuts his eyes and puts his arms out like trying to enjoy the adulation from the fans, but it's not even him getting it. And I think that kind of mindset was there. And then resentment starts bubbling up, and you start doing things like saying, Anthony just got in. You hold things over people's heads. The contract negotiations were a nightmare every time. And Opie always wanted a 1-year deal. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Let's sign for 10 years. Who gives a shit? You know, if they want to fire you, they're going to fire you anyway, right. Contract or not. But let's lock them in. So if something happens, at least we have a settlement portion. We could take half the what they owe us for 5 years, whatever it is. Not 1-year deal. That's all I want. Because he always had this delusion of grandeur. Like there was always something better waiting for us to grab up. And it's like, the truth of the matter was the glory years of the O&A Show were gone. The NEW years and all that crazy fucking radio we were damaged goods after the sex in St. Patrick's Cathedral debacle. We had a couple. We had a contest where people had to go around New York City and have sex at various famous locations, like the Hard Rock Cafe and Empire State Building, things like that. And we had spotters who were comics or people that worked for the show, follow them around, and they would call us on the show and go, all right, we're here at the Empire State Building, and he's doing it. I'm watching him right now. So we had Paul Mercurio, who was a comic, and he was following one couple around, and Opie had put church on the list. And I went like, ooh, I don't know, man. He goes, it's just to read on the air and say like what locations are. And when we say church, people go like, whoa, that's outrageous. But no one's going to go to church. Don't worry. Well, Paul calls up and goes, well, we're here at St. Pat's and he's doing the 2-point conversion. You got an extra 2 points if you were fucking her in the ass at the location. Because they all had point values for how dangerous it was.
And Pat was watching to be sure that it went in the ass?
Paul was watching.
Paul.
Yeah.
Paul
The spotter was supposed to watch. And
so he had to watch this guy fuck his girl in the ass.
Yeah. There was a lot of theater of the mind going on, too. Who knows what fuck they were doing or where. I hear it was in the vestibule outside St. Pat's. But regardless, it's sex at St. Pat's.
Right.
And me and Opie looked at each other. We both had digital delay, like the delay button. 7-second. We had like a 30-second delay. We both had buttons in front of us. There was another guy in a locked room down the hall that had a button to dump out of because we were constantly doing shit that would have gotten FCC complaints. So the boss installed these buttons everywhere. Well, we both had our finger on it going like, shit, do we punch out of this? It's hilarious. Guy's fucking his girl in the ass at St. Pat's. And neither of us hit the button, and the guy down the hall didn't hit it. We just went with it. And that moment is like, that is one of those moments. Like, talk about a defining moment. You move your finger 1 inch down, and that never happens. It's amazing to think about.
What year was this?
2002, I believe. 2000. It was, yeah. It was 9/11. We went through 9/11 on the air and stuff, and then I guess that summer, maybe.
What year did you guys wind up on XM?
2004, I think it was. We had to sit out 2 fucking years out of our contract, not working. They didn't want us to go to mornings because Clear Channel Radio, which was another radio company, and CBS were kind of fighting for us. Clear Channel wanted us to do mornings against Howard Stern, who was on CBS. We worked for CBS at the time doing afternoons. So we were put in a position where they were both just throwing huge amounts of money at us. And CBS was like, we can't let them go to mornings. It would be impossible to beat Howard. But we would take enough listeners away where you might not be number one anymore. That affects revenue. You know, you want to sell the show as the number one rated show. So CBS was doing anything they could to keep us in afternoons with the same company as Howard. So it was the most lucrative contract we ever signed. It was a 3-year deal. We signed it in, I guess, 2001. And after 1 year, they canceled the show because of the Sex at St. Pat's thing. That blew up. I mean, it was in the newspapers. I had to look at Opie and Dopey on the front page of. I'm like, fuck, I'm Dopey. I got to be Dopey. It was so embarrassing. My family and everything. It was just fucking nuts. So CBS was like, well, we canceled your show, but we're not letting you out of your contract. I'm like, what does that mean? We talked to our agent, and he goes, well, you can't work. They're not letting you work. You'll still get paid. And dude, I'm talking millions of dollars. This was millions of dollars that they had to give us for 2 years. But you'd think like, oh, that's awesome. And back then, there was no internet to speak of. Like you had no way to contact your fans.
Well, you could have a website, which is what one of the ways that we became friends is I wrote about you guys.
Right. Yeah.
I wrote a big piece on my website about how ridiculous it was.
Yeah. A lot of people supported us. But it got... in 2 years, you just disappear on the radio. It's if you're not doing a show and you're out there, you will go away. They will find something else. So we were really worried about that. And again, damaged goods. So no one was really clamoring to hire us anyway. But we went through 2 years where I was just making huge amounts of money and just buying toys. I went to Atlantis for a couple of weeks. and in the Bahamas, and I was pulling my luggage to leave at the desk, and I go to my chick. I go, why are we going home? He goes, okay. I said, can I have the room for another 2 weeks? Like, okay. Went back upstairs and just stayed for a month. It was like, I have no reason. Why am I going home after 2 weeks? You're so conditioned, like how long a vacation is.
Right.
And that lasted for 2 years. And then satellite came calling, which we considered radio prison. At that point, it was radio jail. Because everyone that had fucked up in regular radio ended up in satellite. Like, no one wanted to be in satellite radio at the time. They had no subscribers. Me and Opie sat on the side of the Belt Parkway once by my house in Brooklyn. And we were like, let's see how many satellite radio antennas we see. Because they used to be very obvious shark fin, big antennas, aftermarket. They stuck them and drilled them into your roof. It was terrible.
Yeah.
The installation process was stupid. No one wanted to fuck their car up with this dumb antenna. So we're looking and we're like, nothing. And then, oh, look, there's one. And, the money's one thing, obviously, but as a broadcaster, you want to fucking be talking to people. You want to entertain people. You want people to say, wow, that was good. And there was just no subscribers back then. During our 10 years there, it wound up getting very, very good. And we had a lot of listeners. But early on, no one but satellite was calling. And we signed, we signed the deal. But we definitely would have preferred terrestrial radio. Yeah.
It's interesting nuts. Now, right? Because now satellite became a big thing when Howard got on it. Mm-hmm. And people were talking about it. And then it became a big thing because every new car you would buy, you'd get a free 90 days or whatever.
Yeah.
But now, no one gives a shit.
Yeah, it's one of the most short-lived technologies. Not that it's gone. I think it'll always be there in some capacity.
But man, it is fucking clinging by a thread.
So many other. That's why they bought Pandora, I guess. There's
for
so many other
streaming
outlets out there,
and the fact that podcasts are all free.
Yeah.
And then you could play them in a tunnel. You can play them everywhere.
It doesn't peter out on you. And you get that signal constantly now, so it's not like the old days. Every time you get in the car, like your system identifies your phone,
and then when
it
they
links
started
up
playing commercials, I remember when they started playing commercials. Like, what the fuck is this? I'm paying so that you can play commercials. Are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah, that was. It was supposed to be commercial free. They all talk about commercial free, and then it ends up. Oh, if you're listening to 70s on 7, I guess you won't have to listen to a commercial.
Yeah, but even then, I think they have commercials.
Yeah, they started throwing commercials on everything. So short-lived technology. It's weird. And then to put all of your eggs in a couple of baskets that are circling the earth always seemed weird to me.
Well, not only that, you can't get it in Hawaii. I think I told you guys when I went to Hawaii on vacation, I got a car that had Sirius XM built into it. It didn't work.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is this?
You have to deal with a satellite orbiting. Something happens to the transmitter on a terrestrial station. They send an engineer up there. He turns a few screws or what have you. Something fucks up in a satellite. What are you going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Howard going to get in a rocket and fix the fucking thing?
It's really dumb technology at this point. It's totally unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
The fact that Sirius is still transmitted from a thing in the sky down to the ground.
Yeah.
And then it's transmitted from the people on the ground up into the sky and then back down to the people on the ground.
Yeah.
That's what's going on.
Which is
so unnecessary. Just the people on the ground can just send it to the people on the ground.
On the ground. Why wouldn't you do that?
Super easy.
Yeah, especially in this day and age with the...
But they're still doing it. It's very weird.
Yeah, it is. They're going to have to do something with their model.
Do?
I don't know. Like I said, buy Pandora, maybe start scooping up internet companies. But
I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to move towards that direction.
Yeah, I think that's all they have. You know what's really weird, though, is like the fucking AM radio is still a thing. That's the weirdest thing to me. The death knell for radio has been... it's been forever. Like the second another technology came out, it was like, well, I guess that's it for radio. Yeah, television. We have an amazing invention here. And radio was supposed to be dead, but it just hangs in there. People just can't let it go.
Yeah.
Regular radio, especially AM. Man, I remember as a kid, my dad having the AM, like music on the AM radio.
Yeah.
Sounded like it was coming out of a tin can, static and shit. And that was kind of all you had.
I drove home like a year ago, and just on a goof, I decided to put on AM radio, and I was listening to an AM radio show, and I had a big smile on my face all the way home because it was like I was listening to the past.
Yeah, it's like a time machine, right?
Yeah, it was some weird, one of the local talk shows, a weird local talk show in L.A. where they were talking about traffic and the Dodgers game and this and that. And
it's archaic.
it's so strange.
Like, first of all, anything that is trying to inform you is just unnecessary at this point, unless it's fake news, the big CNN and Fox News and everything. Those will always be a fixture and stuff. But local fucking news, do you really need the team that cares at 6 o'clock? It's all just shit that you've already seen online. There's not one story that will be on the 6 o'clock news that I don't already know in depth.
It's also the lowest rung of show business in terms of competence.
Yes.
Like the people they're terrible at it.
And they're all drunks. It's hilarious. Dude, I have never seen a group of people that can drink more than fucking news people. They just get hammered
They
constantly.
probably are miserable.
I think that's it. I think they're miserable.
We went through a whole thing when Roseanne was supposed to be on the podcast, and right after she got fired, she announced that she was going to come on the podcast.
Yes, I
and
remember
so
hearing that.
these fucking newscasters started showing up where our old studio is. Actually, they went to our old studio and they were parked out front with cameras. And this is where I got upset.
Oh,
But I was
Christ.
like, first of all, you guys are terrible at this, and second of all, you just assume that because you're there, I have to talk to you. Mm-hmm. So because you see me, I'm going to say something to you. Because you put your camera and your microphone in my face. It doesn't work that way, fuckface.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to talk to you. You're not good at talking.
Yeah.
This is the reason why you do this. Yeah. You don't
Yeah,
have a
it's-
job, like a really good job doing this because you're not good at this.
You're not good at
either
it.
You will one day get a really good job doing this, or you're just not good at it.
Yeah.
One of those, because right now you're right here, and I'm not talking to you. This is nonsense. Like, you're holding this fucking camera. Hi, we're here with CBS and 4 News. Like, get the
Yeah.
fuck out of here. I don't have to talk to you.
Yeah,
Just because you have a camera in front of me doesn't mean we're going to have an interview now.
Sometimes they feel like you're obligated
Yes.
to address them.
They were
Like,
trying to come to my house.
yeah. I've had that happen.
Yeah.
It's not fun. It's definitely not fun. My
Like,
neighbors.
Get the fuck out of here. I'm not talking to you.
They
Why
knock
would I
on my
talk to you?
neighbors' doors
Yeah.
and they want to know about me and
Yeah.
stuff. And if you think like we deal with LA or New York, imagine what the news team in fucking East Alabama, like that's got to be the worst. They are just terrible at
Yeah.
what they do.
Terrible.
Local news in
Well-
some podunk fuck town is hilarious to watch.
It's one of the things that comics have to do when they come into a town. They
Yeah.
have to do local TV shows, morning
The
TV shows.
morning chat
so
thing.
as shitty as you think The View is, or The Talk, as shitty as those shows
Good
are, where
Morning
those
America.
fucking hens get together and these shows in like the local one in Boise, Idaho, or fucking
yeah.
Dallas, they're it's 1,000 times worse.
Worse, just
Death.
terrible.
Death.
And I hate that there's such a double standard when one of them fucks up, when a news person fucks up, they just apparently leave them alone. Like, where was everyone with what's his name from and was it NBC?
Brian Williams?
Well, Brian Williams, they kind of got on.
Yeah.
But no, Matt Lauer.
Oh yeah.
Like Matt Lauer, it was in the news or anything, but where was the mic being shoved in Matt Lauer's face as he's trying to fucking go home or
Well, I
something?
think there was some of that. I think he just hid. I mean, he went straight to Long Island and went to the Hamptons, and he's never left.
But were they camping out in front of his house?
Yeah, they did.
They
did all
were?
that,
Yeah?
He's just been banging divorcees and riding a motorcycle,
Dude, that-
trying to get back on TV.
That is just
You know what's most
twisted.
stunning to me is how much money he made.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I didn't know he was making that much money. Like, that is insane.
And for years, like
Yeah.
for a long
Like,
fucking
He's
time.
got like a giant ranch in New Zealand that's like thousands of acres.
How do you decide you need that?
It's so crazy because he's got some access issues. Like the people that want to get to certain parts of the public land, they have to go through his ranch. So there's like an access issue, like some sort of
Yeah.
an easement Well, these people are supposed to be able to drive through, and they're fighting it off. And
He should just sit at his desk with that button that opens the door, but it lifts
See-
a gate up so they could get through.
that button, there's a
The
misconception
button.
about that button.
I love the button.
They all had that button.
Yeah?
That was it was because they had big offices and they wanted to be able to lock their door so they don't get interrupted on a phone call.
Oh.
It wasn't so they could bang chicks in the office. Like women executives had that button too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
It sounded very tawdry. Yes, tawdry indeed.
Yeah, well, the media grabbed onto that and like, oh my god, he had a button to lock it. Like he's sitting there. When I fuck, I don't want to be interrupted. I want to fuck. I want to hit that button and just start fucking.
Some nervous girl just hears that click behind
Shit.
her. She goes, "Oh fuck, he
Yeah.
hit the button."
Yeah, there was a lot of that. That was like accentuated. Like there was a one guest that brought in a bunch of sex toys, and she gave him a bag, and he kept it in his office. And he was like, "Oh, he keeps a bag of sex toys in his office." This shit in this office. I got a flamethrower. Okay, Elon Musk gave me a flamethrower. What am I going to do with it? It's right
Which is
there.
awesome, by
he
the
keeps
way.
a flamethrower in his office.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. Like if somebody gave me a bag of dildos, it would be right over there next to the flamethrower.
He has a bag of dildos.
Unless I made a conscious decision to throw it away, or my wife found it, it would wind up getting tossed. But Matt Lauer decided to keep it in his fucking closet.
Yeah.
I don't know. And apparently he gave some people some. I think the guy was getting laid.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of what else happened, all the details of it, it seems to me that it's all of it is like very blown out of proportion.
I don't like that that's happening because everyone is being lumped into the Harvey Weinstein category,
Exactly.
which is that's the
Abusive.
tip of the
Yes.
fucking pyramid
Well,
right there.
Cosby's the tip.
Right. Cosby's
number
literal
one.
Yeah,
He's literally number one.
Yeah.
There was a woman who said this on, I believe it was CNN or one of those talk shows. She said he may very well be the biggest serial rapist in history.
Can you even fucking
And
Bill
I
Cosby?
remember literally sitting back on my couch going, "Fuck,
Yeah.
fucking Bill Cosby's the biggest serial rapist in
Yeah.
history." Wow.
A time machine would be wonderful just to see people's expressions when you tell them like what's happening in the whole celebrity forum. Like what's
you
hey,
ever seen
guess
that
what Bill
photo?
Cosby's doing?
You ever seen a photo of Howard Cosell
Oh, yeah,
standing
yeah.
next to Bruce Jenner and O.J. Simpson?
O.J..
And it says, "I've seen the future, and you're not going to fucking believe this."
Yeah, it's fucking
Bill
crazy.
Cosby, when we were kids, we used to watch the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
When he was Bill Cosby, the stand-up comedian that would go on HBO, and everybody loved him. He was America's
They loved
father.
him. America's dad, right there. The Cosby Show, revolutionary on television.
God.
He was at that time raping women.
At that
It's
time,
just
during
fucking
that time.
insane.
Not just raping them, but drugging them.
Yeah.
And and friends, daughters, like people that he knew. Come on over. I'll help you with your career.
Wow.
Plop.
Yeah.
Drop 2 in your fucking drink, and you feeling okay? Put your feet up. Put your feet up.
Christ.
And they'd be like, "I can't move." It's like, "Good. That's when I stick my dick in your mouth."
And that hazy, like a few of them just hazily regained consciousness for a minute and just remember seeing old Bill pounding away with that fucking flounder eye.
I think he got the eye later in life. He's almost blind, apparently.
Yeah. I think I'm not sure. I thought they were using that as kind of a sympathy thing, but he looks pretty fucking
They should
blind.
send him to the same jail they sent Whitey Bulger.
Oh wow. Yeah. How about that fucking
Imagine that.
boy? He was what 95 or something like that. Whitey Bulger.
Was he that old?
I think he was that fucking old, like in his 90s. That's a grudge that someone held on to for quite a while.
Well, the guy hated rats, apparently. And that was the thing, that Whitey Bulger, all throughout his time of running the Irish mob, was ratting people out to the FBI.
Yeah.
That's what was really crazy. He was another guy, just like we were talking about, what the fuck's his name? The Italian guy.
Yeah, Gotti?
The guy, no, the other one.
Sammy the Bull.
Gravano. He was in the mob, ratting out other people in the mob while he was murdering people.
Yeah.
Like the FBI allowed him to sell drugs and do a lot. He won the lottery twice while he was doing this. You know how that works?
How? I have
Someone
no idea.
else would win the lottery, and he would use that as a way to show income. So he would pay them for their lottery ticket, or steal it from them, or whatever,
there
however
you
the fuck
go.
he did it. And then he would say, "Look, I won the lottery." and then he would win the lottery. So that way he would have all this money.
Laundered,
and you could avoid tax evasion charges that way.
Oh,
you could have a
Christ.
proof of income. Otherwise,
Wow.
where'd you get that boat? Where'd you get that Cadillac? Where'd you get that house?
Yeah. That's fucked up.
Twice. You know how bold you have to
Twice.
be to win it twice?
He was, he was. The FBI was helping him too. Obviously,
Yeah.
they were giving up competitors, and
Yes. Well, they were responsible probably for some murders.
they would bring people to him. Like that was the thing. Like, hey, we're not going to kill anyone, but we'll bring this guy to you so you could have a little chit chat, and you're driving the guy to his death.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So
And he was living in an apartment in Santa Monica with some girl who just talked a lot. And apparently she was yelling at him, and that's how he got arrested. Like
like a domestic?
Yeah, there was like some screaming and yelling, and they were weird, and that was what got people looking at them. Like, who the fuck are these people? And then they started. I mean, he wasn't even like hiding in Montana or anything.
No,
He wasn't in
right out
Wyoming
there.
on a ranch somewhere in the middle of nowhere where no one's going to be suspicious.
Yeah.
He was in fucking Santa Monica in an apartment.
That is fucked up.
Crazy.
I don't understand how it's got to be the most stressful life to lead. Just
run?
On the run. I watched that some of those shows like Cold Case Files, and when they find these people. Yeah, there he
What
is.
inmates are
Wow.
saying about the brutal prison hit on Whitey Bulger.
So they tried to
He
chop
got what
off
he
his
had
tongue.
coming
He
to him.
got
They
what he
tried
had
to chop
coming
off his
to him.
tongue?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
Jesus.
They pulled his eyes out.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
like rat
How old
stuff.
was he?
89 or something.
Oh, 89?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's
He definitely got what he had coming to him. I don't see how anybody could argue that.
apparently
Guy was
so. No
really
sympathy.
a piece of shit. Just amazing that he's 89. Made
Yeah.
it to 89. Patrice,
89.
What was Patrice, like 40 when he died?
Yeah.
How's that work?
I have no idea. But yeah, I mean, he must have been looking over his shoulder constantly.
While still in his wheelchair, he was beaten to death with what inmate call schlocks, a lock in a sock,
It's kind of a Dr. Seuss kind of weapon.
while in his wheelchair before possibly having his eyes partially gouged out with shanks.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
That's some real
His
shit.
assailants tried to chop off his tongue. Wow.
Sometimes it works. Sometimes jailhouse justice actually happens.
Yeah.
You don't think it will, but then it does.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes people get what's coming to them.
Yeah. How do we get on the subject of Whitey Bulger?
I don't know. We just ramble on about
that's
stuff.
the
I
thing
love
about-
it.
So
Fuck yeah.
I love that you've established your own sort of media company. I love that you decided to just
Yeah.
start your own network. Like,
Yeah.
but are there challenges? Like what we do is pretty simple because we just put it out there and then we put ads on it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then, or YouTube puts ads on it. But is it challenging to like, I mean, you have a bunch of people, like when I was there, other folks were coming in and they had their shows in the studio as well. And you change your green screen, you should change the image in the
It was the
background.
more convenient way to kind of, instead of having a different set for every show, it's
Yeah.
a green screen, and then we just pop in a background. We could do some pretty funny things with it too. We've done that. I did a reading last week of part of my book, and we went to an establishing shot of a cabin, and I moved to a chair behind the green screen, and it's just me by a little fire burning, and welcome. I didn't expect you. And so it's kind of fun to be creative with the thing. Other than that, yeah, there are a lot of challenges. It's I'm in front of the mic guy. That's it. I don't really like any of the other parts of the business. It's weird
Do you
because
have
this is
a CEO of the business or
I'm the guy. Keith, though, is the guy I've delegated a lot of the responsibility as to the tech end of everything and finding the people we need to run equipment and stuff over the course of the years. And it's worked out very well. But it is one of those things like it's two companies. You have the entertainment that's going into the microphone, and then all the shit you need to get that to the people.
Yeah.
And the business model and billing and all that shit that I can't fucking be bothered. I have video games to play. I can't be bothered with that shit.
So you operate on it's a subscription. People pay by the month, and then they get a ton of shows. They get the Mike Ward show.
Yeah.
Mike Ward, who was in here last week.
Yeah, and they get Aaron and Gino doing In Hot Water as our morning show, and they're just out of fucking control. They're the one show that I watch sometimes and go like, oof.
Really?
Wow, I wouldn't do that. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Oh, yeah. They're brutal.
Are they comics?
Yeah. They're comics in New York, and they tour around. Really funny guys. Then,
so this is the page with all the show on it.
Yeah, I pilfered Bill Schultz and Joanne Nosachinski from Fox News. They used to be on Fox News, Red Eye and stuff.
Oh, really?
East Side Dave is an insane motherfucker from the old Ron and Fez show.
What's In Hot Water?
In Hot Water is the morning show. That's
right.
that's Aaron and Gino. Kevin Brennan, who is just a mental patient. Kevin scares me. He yells a lot. I come into the studio and I just hear his voice booming, yelling, and I get an anxiety attack like it's my dad yelling at mom back in the old days. It's just we were always looking for
how many shows do you have on?
Shows that fit. I don't know how many is that.
And are these shows available like to stream like anytime you want?
Yeah. Every show, most of the shows go out live. I like the element of just a little danger there of being live as it goes out.
Me too.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, but just knowing you could edit something might make you a little lazy as you're doing it. Yeah. You can't stop. You have to keep going.
Jamie brought it up, like it feels different when we've done shows that aren't live.
Yeah, it does.
Something happened to our streaming at one point in time. It fucked up and we couldn't stream, so we just edited it and put it, or filmed it in advance rather, and put it up later. But it's like, it just feels weird.
It does. It's because there's a net. There's a net down there. You could leave. If you had to take a piss, you could go, I got to take a piss. You're going out live. This is it. Hi. Here it is. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something, there's a feeling that there's people listening right now.
Right. Yeah. And everything's archived. So subscribers can get all the past shows from all the shows.
And it is available. Can they download audio as well as video?
Yeah. Audio only. Audio and video. It's we give them a lot of options. We went with subscriber based because when I got the boot from Sirius years ago, I couldn't imagine people wanted me to be hawking their products in the first place. And I didn't want to be beholden to sponsors.
Right.
I can't have anyone telling me what I can and can't say anymore. Just ain't gonna happen.
But is there an issue trying to get people, like I had a friend who was on radio and they left and went to do a podcast and they had a subscription podcast.
Yeah.
And what he was saying is it's really difficult to grow. Like, you have to keep those people that you have, and you got to keep them happy. And they would do things to engage with them, and they would do like little events where they'd go to a bar and meet everybody and do a show from there. He said, but it's really hard to grow because people don't want to pay when there's all these different shows that they could just get for free. Yeah,
that's always a challenge, but there's also the commodity that people can't get anywhere else is entertaining shows. Like, you could have a free show that sucks, and there's plenty of those out there. But if you're good at what you do and you already have an audience, because I say it all the time, Carolla had the greatest line once. He was being interviewed and someone said, how do you make a successful podcast? He goes, oh, okay, rule number 1, be famous. And it's like, yeah, you gotta. So I figured if we get up and running in a month, me and Keith figured it out, that we could hold on to a lot of the O&A audience that would come over and subscribe.
Get it quick.
Get up. Yeah. And that's why, thank God, I had that studio already built in my basement.
Yeah.
I was able to, all we needed was the logistics of pumping it out onto the internet in a bigger number than I was doing at 3 in the morning.
You were doing some of them outside too.
Yeah. We'd set up the camera out by the pool. Like, my first guest was cool. Dice, which was hilarious.
Really?
Yeah. Dice came by. We sat by the pool. And then later on, he went downstairs into my basement, that karaoke stage, and he was singing Elvis karaoke songs. It was hilarious. And that's one of those moments where you're like, Dice is in my basement singing Elvis. How the fuck did that happen? You know? It was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that model worked for us, and it's been working. But I'm kind of seeing you got to keep on your toes in especially a technology-based business. We were just talking about satellite radio.
Yeah.
Like you just can't tell what's going to happen. You really got to kind of look for future trends and whatnot, and maybe more of a hybrid thing, because it's a balancing act of bringing new people in. And like you said, keeping the people that are there already, but bringing new people in with some free content. So maybe a tiered subscription thing where there is a free level with sponsors, but then a tiered premium level with material that we've already had, maybe past shows or something, or extra content. But so we're always trying to think of what might be a good option. When I first fired this thing up, we had no fucking clue. I mean, this was usually you would kind of do some kind of a research testing or whatever, marketing analysis of day parts and shit like that. And I was like, I could be here by 4 p.m. How long is the show going to be? 6, 2 hours, 4 to 6. I could go out at 6 and then I don't have to be there until 4 p.m. That's fucking easy. Still lets me party. Monday through Friday, fuck that. I want a 3-day weekend all the time for the rest of my life. So that's what we do, Monday through Thursday. And then we have programming on Friday in the slot that I'm supposed to be in during the week. So I didn't want to fucking be driving myself like that forever. So cut back on the hours, the days, and it worked. So, I'm very happy with that. But again, we're always assessing and seeing what we could do to kind of build it, because it is that trade-off of audience. Like, obviously, we're not going to get as many people watching on a subscriber base than we would if it was free with spots. But, do you want to cut down on the paid subscribers and boost it up? And then how far do I go with advertisers where somebody can call them and fuck me over now? And do I truly have free speech now, or as free as I can be with a subscriber base? So it's a balancing act.
I see what you're saying. Like, you don't want to totally abandon the subscriber model, because then you're at the mercy of advertisers.
And it gets like, we have advertisers now. We have a couple of them that we pop maybe 2 spots on a show, and I do. They're all live reads, so I make them fun and funny, and people like, I learned that from Howard years ago. When Howard would go to spots, before he was syndicated too, when he had all the time in the world, sometimes you didn't even know he was still in a commercial break. It was just funny. So I try to keep it light and fun and add in things so it doesn't feel so intrusive. But I don't live and die by sponsors. It's kind of supplements the subscribers' stuff. So that works. And I don't know. Maybe I'm paranoid because of my past that sponsors might get pissed at what I'm saying. But when I look at the shows, especially the shows I've been doing in the past year or so, they're not as harsh as they were. I was really fucking angry like 5 years ago when I started this whole thing. I can't believe it's almost 5 years already that I've been doing this at Compound Media. And I was just pissed. And the show was a platform of like venting and revenge, and like I wanted to fucking yell and be pissed about things and bang the desk about politics and society, and it came off as very angry, and then as time went on, I realized, like, people were telling me, God, dude, just be funny, like, just joke about shit, and you don't have to be serious. Like, I thought for some reason I had to do almost like a political show.
Because of the fact that you had gone through so much shit.
Yeah. I was resentful. I was pissed. And it's one of those things that really carried over onto the show. But in the past couple of years, I guess it's been, especially with bringing Artie Lang on board for the 8 months he was with me, it's very difficult to get into any kind of commentary on society with Artie Lang sitting there.
How was that?
It was odd. It was great. I mean, the preface everyone gives is fucking love Artie. He's hilariously funny, so quick, and just a goofy knock around regular guy. But the demons, man, demons. It was kind of rough to deal with. Like I said, I'm a relaxed guy. If Artie didn't show up one day, I do the show myself.
Didn't he do the show with Opie for a while?
No, he was a guest on Opie's show, and I guess Opie approached him to be a co-host or something,
okay.
and he said no.
Okay.
But yeah, he was never part of the show.
I thought he was gonna be part of the show.
Yeah, there was kind of a rumor going around for a while. So when he came on, I was like, it's not going to kill me if he doesn't show up, for a day every so often, because I'll just do the show myself. But it turned out to be a little more than that. And there were some days that were really good and other days where it was a little frayed around the edges and, redundant.
He's got different kind of demons. He's got like Beelzebub. He's got like the main demon.
He really does, man.
Yeah,
and it's so fucking sad to see because, I mean, there's no question about the talent there. He's hilarious.
And a great guy.
Great guy. You
Loyal
always
guy.
hear that.
Yeah.
You always hear that.
Yeah.
I remember when we hired him, it was, I was at the Comedy Cellar and Dave Attell came up. He goes, "So you're working with Artie?" I'm like, yeah. He goes, "Well, welcome to the wonderful world of the 3 a.m. phone calls and not being able to find him." I'm like, oh, fuck, what did we get ourselves into? And that's kind of what we got ourselves into. But again, I mean, I had a great time. He's one of the funniest motherfuckers, especially on a mic like that. Who would think that when Jackie Martling left the Stern Show, they'd be able to replace him with somebody that was just funny as fuck and have legendary shows with Artie on, and he definitely earned a place in broadcast history. But we just after 8 months it got a little too crazy, to unpredictable, and you need some predictability.
What was bad about it?
Well, it was the attendance issue was a little odd.
Sound like a principal.
Yeah, the attendance. He was tardy. And there were some days he was fucking most days he was awesome. But there were some days where, the head's down, it was kind of a little iffy. And, regardless, I know he knows that too. I mean, he lives in that body. Yeah. So, he knows it. So it was a little odd. And then we picked up Dave Landau, who's a young comic out of Detroit. He filled in a couple of times when we had him as a guest on the show, and then he filled in a couple of times during Artie's few sabbaticals that he was away for a week or so. And me and Dave just hit it off. He's got a great sense of humor. He's a little twisted. He's got a great backstory. The guy was just a fucking piece of shit for a long time.
Really?
His stories about like drunk driving. He crashed every car he had. He was arrested 15 times before he was 18. Like just a disaster. And you look at him now, he's got a great wife, a beautiful kid. He's a working comic, and he's awesome. He knows how to co-host my show. He gets it. We don't step on each other. He knows exactly what to throw in and when. So really happy with Dave Landau. He's a great guy.
I only did one show with him the last time I was in town with you. But he's great. I really
he's a good guy, man.
Smart dude.
Yeah,
quick.
Smart and really decent. Like it's so weird to see people that you didn't know when they were such fuck ups and fucked up. Because you almost want to go, all right, come on, just drink one night. I want to see what a disaster you are, because you just don't know how fucked up people can get. But you never know. He's a decent guy.
Yeah, I like what you're doing, man. I love it. I love that you're doing something different. You basically got put into a corner.
Yeah,
and you said, all right, I'm going to figure my way out of this.
It was a lifeboat at first,
but you've really expanded it now, and it's become a really interesting thing.
Yeah, and I never expected it. I gave it a lot of thought in between being fired and when we finally fired it up, Compound Media. I was like, what do I do? Do I go fucking buy a ranch somewhere in the middle of the sticks and get guns and write a manifesto or something? Or, I didn't know what to do.
Right.
No one was knocking on my door to fucking give me a job. So when the idea came to do this, it was pretty much, all right, I want to do this. And regardless of how many subs I get, the overhead's going to be barely anything. It's me in my basement doing a broadcast. So I wasn't really worried about the number of subscribers or anything like that. And when we launched and it was really successful, during the course of that year, we started getting other shows. Legion of Skanks, the guys out there, Big J. Okerson and
Are they still
Dave
with you
Smith.
guys?
And
do
they have their own thing. Louis J. Gomez.
Yeah.
They got their own thing on their own network. But for a while, they were doing their show from my house.
That's
which
awesome.
was so weird. It was like, because you need their legion of skanks with them. They have their part of their show is that live audience. So I'd have people coming into my backyard that I didn't know from a hole in the wall that had driven out to Roslyn, Long Island to sit on folding chairs in front of the guys. And I'm walking around my basement like, who are these? Like, this is a little weird. It's a little intrusive, but it's cool. And then it really started getting fucked up because during the summer months, they'd all jump in the pool. So now they're swimming in my pool.
People you
the
don't know.
Legion of Skanks was in my
Wow.
pool. and it was the weirdest. It was cool. We'd all just, have a few beers, talk. You get to know people.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that bad. No one ever did anything bad. They respected the house and everything, which was very cool. And then Gavin was doing the show. We got Gavin on board from my house, and a lot of times it was at night, so I'd be upstairs on my couch watching TV or something. He'd finish up, come upstairs and sit on the couch and be like, "Hey man, what's up?" And I'm just like, I just don't want to talk. I talked all day. I want to watch TV. So it became a little weird, and after a year, Keith was like, let's get a place in the city. It's easier for guests.
Yeah.
So we got a place at 35th and 7th right near Penn Station. Which works great. I take the train in now. I don't have to fucking drive into the city. Although that's another nightmare, the transit Long Island Railroad. But it just works out better that way. It gets me out of the house. It's a separation of personal life and the job. So it works out. I like the
I
little
started
studio.
my podcast in my house too.
I think everybody does.
My little kids, you'd hear them in the background screaming at each other. "Mommy, she took my thing!" Because they were really little at the time. Because I've been doing it for 9 years now.
Holy fuck!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah, so I did it in my house, and then we started doing some of them at the Ice House, and then I got a place, the last one, the place you went to.
Remember that?
And then as the show got bigger, I just said, let's get a big place. Let's just.
This
go
is
crazy.
insane, Joe. I don't know how much you've shown the people on your show. Do you venture out and show them anything?
Not much, no.
It's insane. It's a fucking airplane hangar. This is giant, and everything in every corner is cool. Like, it's all just cool. There's you got weights and mats and then that hunting thing, that archery game
Techno hunt.
It's amazing. It's
but it is a game. There's scores. Like, you compete against each other.
Yeah, you're firing real arrows with your compound bow into, what is that, Kevlar? A Kevlar screen.
Yeah, the tips are flat, like the top of a water bottle, so it slaps it doesn't penetrate.
Yeah. I went to a gun range a couple of times on Long Island that also used a video on a screen that was made with giant rolls of paper, one horizontal, one vertical. And a sensor would read the light that would come through when a bullet hit. And that would record where you shot and accurately show that. And then after too many holes got in, all you have to do is wind the paper a little bit on each one, and it misaligns the holes. So now you got a whole new sheet of paper to shoot at.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was very cool to be able to shoot at video targets of, the bad guy.
Yeah, well, it's also really good for real life situations. For hunting, that thing's amazing. Because you're not just looking at a bullseye like a typical target face. You're looking at the crease behind the shoulder where you're trying to hit the heart.
By the way, you nailed that one. Like the second one you did, it was a deer, just a video of a deer standing there, and it's moving. It's not a still picture. And you drew that back and hit it exactly in the crease behind the leg. That was a hard shot. Really cool.
This fucking game is very addictive, though. You'll be out there pulling that bow back. You'll fuck your shoulder up.
Yeah.
Because you're pulling back 70 pounds all day long.
Yeah.
Like, it gets super addictive. Like, think about how addictive it is to play video games.
Oh, yeah,
Now think about competing against another bow hunter, and you're talking shit to each other playing this game when there's deer walking out in the field.
Yeah,
it's really great practice for actual bow hunting.
Yeah, you could tell. It's very accurate too. Wherever that bolt hit, it's fucking right on the money. Very very cool though. This place is awesome. You got an amazing place.
Of you.
I can't even. You were you took the ball and fucking ran with it, man. You really did. This is amazing. Just an amazing accomplishment. Like you're known. You're the guy. Like people are like, oh, you're going on Rogan's podcast. Oh shit, he's the guy. You like ended up being the guy
because of you guys. That's
so
what's crazy.
Fucking awesome, man.
Because of being a guest on O&A and then watching you do live on the compound. That's absolutely where it all started.
Crazy. I just wanted, when I was doing that, it was trial and error. I would go to B&H Photo in Manhattan and just buy shit and take it home, hook it up and go, that don't quite work. Throw something in the closet, get something else, and slowly built up what I needed to have it work. My goal was really to have lower thirds and video over my shoulder and look into the camera with a teleprompter. So it looked like the news.
Yeah.
But it was done by a drunk guy who was, would go off and just sing karaoke, horrible language. Like that to me was always funny. Like it was a parody of a real TV show. I wanted it to look good, not just a grainy camera with a Xbox headset.
We were literally
mic.
just talking about this at the Comedy Store the other night. We were watching the news. It was on the television. And we're saying, how much better would the news be if you get a couple of us and get fucked up and start smoking weed and then just...
Right.
But the real news, like actual real stories, like, oh shit, look what the fuck that guy just did. And
Who
have
wouldn't
a
watch
version
that?
of the news is just with comics. Like I've actually... After doing that at the Comedy Store and watching that and talking to a couple friends, I've actually thought about doing that, like having a nightly news show.
Oh, is that great? Yeah.
Or a morning news show, or just a show where 1 hour of the day is just like you get the AP feed, all the news feed, and you got video to go with it, and you do a stoned out or drunk news show.
Yeah.
With comics.
We have a guy, Michael Malice, that does kind of a daily wrap-up show at 11 p.m., and it's hilarious because he'll put, like the other day he was talking about Tucker Carlson, and the graphic comes up and it says Tucker Carlson, but it's a picture of, who the fuck was it? Sean Hannity. It was a picture of Sean Hannity. And he does shit like that all the time. And people are like, dude, that's not Tucker Carlson. He goes, what? No, I thought it was. But he does that on purpose. Like he fucks with the graphics and the ticker at the bottom and everything. And it's really
hilarious.
It's really funny. He's a smart guy, too. He's a clever little shit. But that's shit like that is great. We did an election show during the presidential election a couple of years ago, and Gavin was on that one, and we had all the big American flag waving in the background on the green screen and everything, and we were calling it like a sporting event. DePaulo was there, and it really turned into like a football game. You're just going, oh my God, we just got Florida. Oh my, it was so, and it was. We were all drinking and laughing, and it was election coverage like the news would do, but we were just hammered and laughing our balls off. So,
what do you think happens to Gavin now?
Because
no one bounces back from that kind of shit.
It's so tough.
It's a different kind of shit that he's in right now. Cult leader, like he's in this. They've got
David
the eye
Koresh.
Yeah, as Malice says, he's got the eye of Sauron on him.
Yeah, and that thing just fucking.
But once that's on you, it's very hard to shake that fucking thing off of you.
Yeah. If anyone can do it, it's Gavin. He's been reborn a couple of times. He was supposed to be done after that trans thing.
Oh, not really.
I don't know. Nah. They gave him a lot of shit for that, and he lost his company.
Yeah, but that's like professional stuff. That's not like showbiz stuff. Now he's in this weird showbiz exile sort of place.
Yeah. Well, he's on CRTV.
Yeah, that's still real?
He does a show there, yeah.
Who the fuck watches that?
I don't know, I see clips of him, but it's rough.
What is that? What is CRTV? Is that
it's another thing? Kind of an internet
like
thing.
Compound?
But more straight news kind of based.
Why would they have him on it?
He was on there. He got hired by them maybe a year or so ago.
Right, but if they're trying to do something straight, he's not like...
He's kind of the goofy...
Silly.
I think the goofy... aspect of it. And then they'll have, the regular straight lace guy.
Why don't you have him on Compound anymore?
He got a better offer to go over there. We're not going to hold anybody back. Hey, why are you?
Right.
Don't you? It is weird, though, because you can be stricken from the record, as they showed with Alex Jones.
Yeah.
They just... Holy fuck, did they just get rid of him? He is a non-person.
Yeah.
They fucking took... every aspect of his feed off of every bit of social media.
And it's obviously a coordinated effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Definitely.
is not just one company that also competes with another company that also, and they all just universally decided on their own independently.
Yeah.
No, they coordinated that.
I can't stand the. I am an absolutist with free speech. And I know the fucking line. It's a private company. They can do what they want. Freedom of speech is about the government and this and that. It's like, yeah, but are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Are you okay with a faceless corporation deciding what you can watch and see and hear and who can speak based on nothing but this arbitrary ideology that comes out of a building? Like, I don't like that. I want anyone to have the ability to speak about anything they want, no matter how repugnant it is. Like meet it with a lively debate.
Well, here's a perfect example. Forget Alex Jones. Let's talk about what we talked about earlier. Laura Loomer versus Louis Farrakhan.
Yeah.
Where's your consistency? You got to explain to me how that works.
How does that
How
work?
is it okay for the guy on Twitter to be calling Jewish people termites? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's something you exterminate.
Yeah.
This is Nazi Germany type talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how is that okay? That's okay with you, but then, I mean, how about look? It works that way on the left as well. Like, how about that guy that just got kicked off of CNN because he was talking about the Jewish policies
Israel,
against Palestine, and that he's for Palestinian liberation, and they were like, "Fuck you, you're done." Like this decision that. Or the thought process that's involved in the decisions that they make is not based on rational thinking and objective reasoning.
No, it's so arbitrary. You just don't know.
It's based on which way the culture's swinging, you know, and the culture is swinging in a way that avoids any possible accusations of racism. If you think in any way, shape, or form you're going to be thought of as racist, you avoid that. Because there's some people that say horrific shit about white people.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't get banned.
Literally calling for their death. and they don't get banned.
You know that girl that got hired by New York Times, and it was a massive uproar because she had so many anti-white things on her Twitter.
Oh, yeah. The Asian girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just all that ridiculous left-wing woke nonsense. You know that you're allowed to be completely racist against white people, massive generalizations against white men in particular. Like, it absolutely is discrimination, and it's absolutely what you're doing is you're being prejudiced, but you're being prejudiced with a stamp. Well, you've got a stamp of approval. You're allowed to be.
Yeah, you're allowed to be. And I love the just rules that are made up that are ridiculous. It's like, oh, you're a racist. No, I can't be a racist.
Right.
I'm this or that, or that. I can't be sexist. I can't be this. It's like, who's making these fucking rules up?
Exactly.
And how come I am not privy to any of them?
Of course.
I can't call on any of these rules.
The beautiful thing about that is that hypocrisy will eventually bite them in their ass. And people who are rational, who listen to the argument against it, and say, you absolutely can be sexist against men. You absolutely can.
Of course.
And you are. A lot of feminists are 100% sexist against men. There's this feminist that I follow. Her fucking Twitter picture, the image, the big one, the banner one, says, "Trust no man."
Great.
Okay, well, good fucking luck. Good luck cutting out half the population. Don't trust them. How about trust all women? You're going to do that? Well, great. Congratulations, because you got about 15 to 20% cunts. And that's, you're going to have to trust all of them. Good luck. Good luck. You got 80, 85, 90% maybe good gals.
Yeah.
And you're polluted.
Well,
you've got a polluted population, just like men. There's a polluted population of men. There's a polluted population of women. If you thought that you were going to get pure drinking water without dropping in those purification tablets, you're going to get giardia.
There's some shit in there. Yeah.
You're going to get sick.
There's no 100% on any of that. So when we saw the whole believe all women thing that happened during the Kavanaugh hearings and whatnot.
I didn't do that bit the other night, did I?
No.
I'll tell you to you off air.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you something off air that's...
It's crazy. Like the idea that anyone would say believe all women is as mental as saying believe no women.
Exactly.
It's the same stupid thing because there's going to be assholes, there's going to be pieces of shit. I was saying on the show the other day, like, no one really wants equality. Equality isn't good. the fight for equality is where it's at.
Right.
And you never want to attain it because then you're not special anymore. If you're fighting for equality, that you're always a victim. There's always an oppressor, and you're fighting that. Once you're equal, you can be called a shithead. You can be called stupid.
Right.
Everything else. You're just another face in the crowd with another stupid voice that probably shouldn't be heard. So no one ever really wants equality, no matter how much they're clamoring for.
Even if it does get achieved, you're going to find some reason why it's not valid.
Right, why it's not valid, and you can still say that you're being victimized by something.
There's currency in it.
Yeah, there is. There's definitely equity in being a victim and not being equal yet.
Yeah.
But you're fighting.
You can say things that other people can't say.
Right. We see it all the time.
You can generalize. You can be completely prejudiced. You can do a lot of things you could never do if you were another race.
Yeah. And now you see this, that Avenatti guy, that lawyer, just hilarious. The whole believe all women, and then like a fucking movie script, it spins around and bites him right in the ass where he's like, I didn't do that. She's lying.
Yeah.
It's like, dude,
wait a minute.
The fact that it happened so fast is like, if that would have been hilarious if it happened 2 years from now.
Yes.
But the fact that it happened right after it is just beyond hilarious.
Well, like the Asia Argento chick.
Right, yeah,
That
the other one.
The one who was accusing Harvey Weinstein of raping her.
Right.
And then turned out that she had, it's basically, what do they call it?
Statutory rape
when you have sex with a 17-year-old boy, which I don't think it is. I don't think you think it is either. But the law is the law. And the fact that it came out that Bourdain had paid this kid off, during the whole time they're all just believe all women and like, don't believe that one.
Yeah.
That one you probably shouldn't believe. This is a problem. You got a real fucking problem. And the fact that all that went down, it's just, when these things play out like this, it almost makes you wonder, like, God, I don't really believe we're living in a simulation, but if we were living in something that's designed to almost, it instills this lack of appreciation for reality.
Yeah,
it all seems so bizarre and ludicrous, and people keep like when Anthony Weiner got in trouble for pulling his dick out. I swear to God, there was part of me that was going, "This doesn't even make sense. Like this is so obvious. It's so like right there.
Yeah.
It's so on the button.
Yeah,
it's not even subtle enough.
A lot of that stuff, it seems like everything works out too much like it's scripted.
Yeah.
Like during Trump's campaign, I kept saying he's got to win. I go, this doesn't play if he doesn't win.
Right.
This isn't Rocky 1. This has to be Rocky 2. He's got to fucking win. It's not about the battle and the bravery and he's got to win this for this to work.
To really highlight the theater of the absurd.
Right. He's got to win.
Yes.
And
this is
he
all
fucking won.
The spotlights in the air.
Right.
This is the theater of the absurd. I mean, that guy being president with his fake hair sprayed down and orange skin with the white around the eyes. It all seems so fake.
Everything he says, the way he looks, like, everything is insane. Every time I see him walking down the stairs of Air Force One, I'm just like, holy fuck, Donald Trump is the president? Like, what kind of wacky world?
A really wacky world. Really wacky world.
Yeah, the other day,
undeniably wacky world.
When he was giving that speech about Elvis, and it's just like, people told me I look like Elvis. That's what people have told me. If I wasn't blonde, I look like Elvis. And it's like, no one told you that.
You look even a little bit like Elvis.
No one ever told you that. Maybe your belly, right when Elvis was sitting on the bowl for the last time, but that's about it.
How about when that reporter confronted him? Look at the two of them together.
Come on.
Well, when I look at that picture.
People told me I look like the king.
Maybe.
Oh, my God.
Maybe a little bit. How about the upper right-hand corner one?
Have you ever seen anyone?
Trap.
Anyone?
Can't walk out. That Fat Elvis is my favorite.
Fat Elvis.
Because I love you too much, baby.
Of course, 1,000 memes now.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen someone so committed to a comb over for so many years? Like, so committed.
But it's not just a comb over.
It's
like
I don't know what it is. It's a wacky contraption.
Walking up the stairs of Air Force One where the wind's blowing from behind. You see the whole back of his head is bald.
Yeah.
You're like, where's the hair coming from?
It was like a fucking Vader's head without the helmet.
exactly.
It kind of looked like that weird, like, what's going on? You never know where it's starting and where it ends and how
chaos.
long it is. It's
Chaos.
like,
Look at that.
oh my God.
That's just a picture. The video is more disturbing because you see the flops.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just chaos. Well, how about, when he didn't want to go out there for the 4th of July memorial because he didn't want to get his hair wet?
His hair wet in the rain.
Yeah.
That was, that's what they were saying.
What?
I don't know. That is such a weird thing. Like
It was a September 11th. That's what it was.
the president.
The 9/11
Oh,
one?
it was a Veterans Memorial or the World War II.
was it
thing.
Veterans Day?
World War II.
Isn't it odd though
Memorial
that
Day.
like
Memorial Day.
that the president is a guy that's so like insecure?
Yeah,
that
bizarre.
forever, for decades, he has to fucking do a fucking Dairy Queen ice cream fucking move on his head every day.
Also, he's fat. Like, if you're the thing is, like, if you're really concerned so much about your looks,
Right.
why are you fat? Like,
Why are you
I don't
fat?
get it.
I don't think he thinks he's fat. I think he's like one of those guys that you talked about having
Body dysmorphia.
body dysmorphia. He looks in the mirror and sees Elvis, like young leather-clad Elvis.
Yeah, he's got this weird thing, where he doesn't believe in exercise because he feels like the body is like a battery, and if you put any energy into
It's
exercise,
gonna wear it out?
it wears it out.
Well, the motherfucker is up at all hours.
Yeah.
He during the campaign for the midterms, he was doing 3 rallies a day, flying all over the country, and he never seemed to be like he was falling asleep or losing energy. So I don't know what he's doing.
Well, do you know about all that? He says, I get exercise. I mean, I walk. I this, I that. Trump 71 said during the Oval Office. I run over to a building next door. I get more exercise than people think.
I run over to a building next.
I'm amazing. My exercise is incredible. He's on, allegedly, according to one reporter, he's on diet pills. And that he's been on diet pills forever. And then there's a prescription that he actually even cited the exact Duane Reade pharmacy where he was supposed to take this for like a little while and he wound up taking it for years. He's taking some form of amphetamines. Which,
good for him.
In this day and age, if you would be fucking stunned if you found out how many journalists, how many people who are writers, how many people that are professionals, how many people that work who are on Adderall. The community that I'm in, I mean, I live in an area where there's a lot of people that have money and they work real hard. And because of the fact that they need energy, I know a shitload of people that are taking Adderall.
Yeah.
Folks that are in Hollywood, folks that are in finance, all sorts of different.
Yeah, I know quite a few also. Yeah,
It's everywhere, man. I mean, it is such a. The difference between methamphetamine and amphetamines, the difference between meth and what you're getting when you get Adderall is so goddamn close.
Yeah.
It's so close.
But meth is crazy. You take that and you're a meth head.
The only difference is how quick it hits you.
Yeah.
It's literally the only difference.
Yeah.
And then the dosage that you get is obviously regulated if you get Adderall.
Right. I don't know. I'm not a pill guy. I never have been.
What do you got here, Jamie? What are you pulling up?
What he says here about being on a treadmill. And then
Awesome.
Going on a diet.
I was on a treadmill for the first time, actually in quite a while, and it was a very steep angle, and I was there for a very long time, he said. They were surprised. And they said, well, you can stop now. That's amazing. And I said, I can go much longer than this if you want me to. Hey, Trump, I got a fucking, right now, buddy, I got a challenge. How about you join the Sober October Fitness Challenge next year?
Oh, man.
Hop on. We'll put that strap on you. We'll see what's up.
See
who's amazed.
Always definitely got a Mickey Mantle gene.
Everything is over the top with Trump. It's
Trump
so
said he
good.
had dieted successfully before. I have been more of a believer in diet because I'm strong, I've always been more of a believer in diet because I'm strong, I hit the ball far. I mean, I'm strong physically, he said. That is so hilarious. Will you imagine wrestling him, how weak he must feel? Like just a bag of Jell-O. Just grab a hold of his body and smush it. It's all gushy, and the bones are barely held together with thread. Like, what are you talking about? You're strong.
He's
you hit
strong.
the ball far.
I'm strong.
I mean, when he said that he would beat up Joe Biden, that was that was like a peak ludicrousness.
Yeah.
I was like, what? You're gonna beat up Joe Biden would go down fast and hard. That's what he said.
Dude, the fact that they're talking like that, again, absurd. It's so fucking funny that. And Biden has said the same thing. Like
I'll kick his ass. He's a bully.
Like, when did Truman and Dewey trade barbs like that back in the day?
What is he saying?
Nixon and Kennedy?
I did make a mistake, but they asked me would I like to debate this gentleman. And I said no. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Woo, violence!
Meanwhile, I don't believe that. I think Trump would kick his ass. I really do. I think Trump is meaner, and I think Biden would make a mistake.
Yeah, Trump better be able to...
He would swing, and he would slip, and he would fall, and he'd fuck his knee up, and Trump would kick him in the face like a soccer ball. He would get lucky, and he would walk away, and Biden would be holding his teeth and blood coming out of his mouth, and he'd be like, I told you, I'm the best ever. And he'd get away with it.
Yeah.
Just like he gets away with a lot of things. And there would be a lot of people that would want to kick Trump's ass and get back at him, but it would never manifest. It would never come to play.
No.
Just like what's going on now. It's like where people thought Stormy Daniels was going to take him down. And then it turns out Stormy Daniels beat some chick up on a porn set.
And now she's after Avenatti also because he apparently isn't giving her an accounting of where all the money that she raised online was going to. And he apparently she said he filed that lawsuit against Trump against her wishes. She didn't want it done. And now she's not getting an accounting of the money. It's hilarious.
The defamation suit is also the one that she lost.
Yes.
And now she has to pay his legal
fees. So... This Avenatti guy is hilarious.
And he wants to run for president.
Just another dummy in the mix. Another dummy.
Listen, he's another guy chaining himself to a building. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
He's got a bullhorn.
Right.
Everybody just wants attention. I actually talked to a guy who's in Hollywood. He works in Hollywood. He's like a high-level guy. He's got a respectable job. And he's like, we need a guy like that Avenatti guy on our side who doesn't talk any shit.
What?
Or doesn't take any shit. A guy who could call Trump out on his bullshit. And I'm like, what are you talking about, man? I go, what are you talking about? This guy, this lawyer, this guy's the guy you think you need running the country. Are you serious?
He's a disaster.
But they wanted to believe that he was the guy.
Right.
It fit the narrative. Like the narrative is, we need a guy like that. We need a good guy like Trump. This is what Keith Olbermann is. This is what all these people are. A good guy who's going to kill him, you fat fuck, you fucking liar, you piece of shit.
Well, Trump has nothing to lose is what it is.
Right.
Like Trump could say anything, and he does because what are they going to do? What are they going to do? He's
one of the things about diet pills they were putting about amphetamines, and they were reading down in this article all of the side effects of
and it's like spot on.
Delusions of grandeur, elevated sense of your place in the world, like all these.
He is the president.
Things. Well, and on top of
elevated
that,
sense
pills.
of the president. Wow, that is big. I'm the president of the world. I think he thinks he is, but
he is.
He's fucking.
Is. But I mean, if he's the president of the United States, you're basically
pretty much president of the world. Yeah.
I mean, at least if there's a number 1 through 10, you're number 1.
Yeah.
All right, who's number
Definitely.
2? Who's number 2?
Putin,
Whoever the
maybe.
fuck that is,
know.
that's number 2.
But it's number 2
is Donald fucking Trump.
Donald
Period. Hate him all day. One of my favorite Hillary quotes is really recently. She said, "I would like to be president." That's what she said.
Oh yeah.
I would like to be president.
Yeah.
Well, you should never be president then. Because that's not what the job is. That job's not some shit you put on your resume.
Right,
I would
right.
like to be president.
I would like
I
to.
would like a cookie.
Yeah. That's what it comes off as.
I would like to be the queen. I would like that. I would like if you kiss my ass. I would like it if you suck my toes.
Yeah.
Like, what? You would like it?
Trump
You would like it.
That's why Trump comes off as like just a bad stand-up. When he does those rallies and everything.
Yeah.
Like you could tell when he's squinting at the prompter and he's like, we as Americans must blah, 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 blah. And then you see his eyes open. And he's like, so let me tell you about, and he's off prompter. And that's when I go, oh, here it comes. Here comes a winner. And when he talks about ICE, and he's like, the men and women of ICE, just amazing people, a job that none of us want to do. We don't want to do it. And then he starts the crowd work. This guy over here, look at him. He doesn't want to do it. Yeah. See, his wife knows. His wife, like he's doing crowd work.
He's doing crowd work.
Like, what the fuck? It's the president. It's so fucking bizarre.
Do you remember that one 90-minute speech that he gave, just rambling nonsense, and people go, "This is the day the presidency unraveled." That was 2 years ago. That shit was forever ago.
It was
He's
forever
still in
ago,
there.
and he's still unraveling. It's
He's not even unraveling. It's just who he is.
Do we go back to this guy, the whole
thumb.
and what we need to do? Because guaranteed in 2020, that's going to be the pitch against Trump. We need to return to some semblance of society.
It's going to be a young, democratic, socialist type character that says a lot of things that the young people want to hear.
Right.
And then is like a completely anti-racist, anti-homophobic, trans rights, all that stuff.
Right.
That's what I think. And there's someone who can hold it together. And someone who doesn't have a good fucking Beelzebub in the closet.
Yeah, that's getting tougher and tougher to find these days, man. There is some shit, just fucking graveyards falling out of people's closets.
And it's the people that want to be in power that all have these fucking skeletons.
Yeah.
You know, that's what's the weird thing. It's these people that want to be in power.
Yeah. I think it's hilarious. Like, you look at a politician like you just described at a rally or a speech, and behind them is it's so well choreographed. Like, every nationality is represented.
Yes.
And, you just see, it looks like something out of a fucking Star Trek episode. The hats from different lands and all kinds of things. And it's like, that to me is just as fake and potentially like offensive as just the Trump background.
You know what
of
it's like?
White trash.
It's like Laura Dern running Star Trek or Star Wars.
Star Wars.
That's what it's like. It's the
to
same
bring
thing.
it back. Yes.
It's like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. Not that Laura Dern's a bad actress; she's a great actress.
But in that role,
In this
I wasn't
situation,
buying it.
and when she's like telling the pilot to shut up, I'm like, listen,
Stop.
that guy's a fucking straight up killer who's out there flying a pilot. He's piloting a spaceship and gunning down evil robots that want to blow up the planet.
Yeah, he's really going to be
lady.
intimidated by
Yeah.
Laura Dern.
I remember when we first started running this empire. Like, shut the fuck up, Jesus.
Force
Christ.
fed, just
Yeah.
force fed. That
There's
I
a lot of
can't
that though. This like
stand
these really obvious, just theatrical plays at diversity and inclusiveness and progressiveness, and you could tell that they've pushed every button. There's no authenticity to their message because it's like they have to push every correct button and say all the right notes and make all the right sounds. It's like this thing. They're complying. It's a compliance thing as much as it is an expression of who they are as individuals. You know, you have to be compliant with this new way people are thinking and behaving.
But it's so ham-handed.
Yes.
Like it's really over the top. It's obvious.
It's like a guy named Wiener pulling his dick out. It seems fake.
It's too
so
obvious.
clunky.
It's too clunky.
Too right on the head.
You know what? I heard that some of the movies that are coming out, I think they're doing a girl version of Bad Boys, which is like, why the fuck? It's just,
like they
again,
did with Ghostbusters.
Like Ghostbusters, which was such a success. And then I saw this.
Isn't that how Milo got kicked off of Twitter?
Yeah. By goofing on, what's her name there?
Leslie Jones? Yeah.
Yeah. So I read this the other day. There's a Broadway show of King Kong. There's now a Broadway musical. And they have this amazing kind of marionette gorilla on the stage, giant fucking thing. And the girl that plays Ann Darrow. And now a new girl has been cast. She's black. Now I'm like, the whole gist of King Kong is the fact that it's a white broad.
Yes.
Like the whole island is full of black chicks.
Whoa, this marionette King Kong picks her up. What's up with his face?
I don't know. They had to make him, almost, how
It's
the
almost
characters
like
look in The
Thing.
Lion King,
Look
the
at
musical
that. That's
or something.
so weird.
Yeah.
So is that's all a marionette?
Yeah, it's like it's on cables and shit, and there's people working it. And
Oh, how strange.
if there's a video clip of it and you see it kind of move, it is strange.
We got to see a video.
But like I said, the whole fucking thing is based on it's the white chick.
Yeah.
Like it's part of the story. I can understand you can cast a black actress and a white actress as part of that.
Yeah.
But when it's so integral to the story that this fucking guy, isn't that sick?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It looks pretty fucking badass, but where's his fur? What's this guy? Get out of there, buddy. Wow, this is amazing, man.
Yeah, isn't that sick? In a fucking Broadway stage, they got all this
That's
shit
incredible
going on.
man.
It really is.
That really is amazing. They got the teeth lit up and everything. Wow.
Yeah, the lighting is pretty important. And,
That's actually pretty badass. So this is the old one. The old one used to be a blonde chick, and they go,
yeah.
no, not anymore.
It
now
has
we're gonna get a black trans man.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole gimmick is that Kong has been on this island with black chicks.
Yeah.
And he sees her and just loses his fucking mind.
Yeah, I have a whole bit about
I
it.
heard it the
Yeah.
other night. It's fucking brilliant. It's so goddamn funny.
It is true. It's like that.
Yeah.
That movie is like the most racist movie of all
It's
time.
horrifically racist.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. When the remake came out, I think it was the Peter Jackson remake came out. Patrice went off on it,
Yeah.
and did a whole thing about what the movie represents and what the chick and the gorilla represents and everything. And it was fucking brilliant. Only as Patrice could have done it. And he nailed it.
Do you know the movie Frozen, the little kids movie?
Yeah, I never saw it.
The girl who can fucking turning things into ice and
Yeah.
everything. There's a Disney version, a live Disney version that they've decided to do. And in the live Disney version, the girl is now played by a black girl. But it's a blonde girl who lives in like Norway.
Yeah, it doesn't make. See,
But they decided to have her be played by a black girl, and people went crazy. They sent all these emails in, like, "This is outrageous! Like, what are you doing?" It's like,
Yeah.
But I feel like these companies, there's too many people involved, right? It's not like Compound Media; it's just Anthony Cumia making decisions, right?
Right.
With something like Disney, you have this board, and you probably in California, like, you have to have a certain amount of women on the board, right?
you imagine what that must be like?
You have to have like equal representation of everyone. Everyone's super concerned about diversity. Like, I have a friend
Crazy.
who pitched a show. And when they walked in there, the first question they said, he pitched the show. They go, "Okay, where's the diversity? Where's the diversity?" Like, he was pitching a sitcom.
Yeah,
And they're like,
yeah.
"Where's the diversity?" He's like, "I'm just pitching you something funny. I pitch you a funny program.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Okay, we need an Asian man. We need a black woman. We need a this and that. We
And
need
again, like we were talking about,
Yeah.
it's so obvious that it becomes distracting.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to have to watch something that diversity is just forced in there,
Right.
because you notice it and now you're distracted and you can't really enjoy the thing. Like that King Kong thing. Like how do they do the part where the natives on Skull Island, Kong is just like, get out of here. But this one is like, oh, this.
Yeah.
Like there has to be something different.
Yeah.
And it's definitely the hair color and the skin color. It's just what it was. It's regardless of how horrible it is or whatever.
Get past that.
It's just the way it is.
Grow up.
Right.
Move on.
Yes.
The time has passed you by, old man.
Old white dude.
Yeah. Oh, old white dude doesn't like when a black woman gets a role that's designed for all black women or all white women.
So there are so many instances where that's fine and no one would notice and whatever. I don't have a problem with Hamilton or whatever. They want to cast founding fathers as black and Hispanic dudes. Whatevs. Go at it. But like when it's an integral part of the story.
It's most of the story.
It's
the reason
most of
why
the
big
reason,
gorilla
right.
loses his mind. Is 'cause
Right.
He falls in love with the white chick.
The whole time he's on camera in the movie, he's there losing his mind because of the white chick. That's
Yeah, just don't make a movie.
right. Then just don't
Make the movie or
do
don't make
it.
the play. The idea that you're
Yeah.
going to make the play, but we're going to have a black woman of color. We're going to have a
woman of color. That's what you
That's
gotta
one of
say
my
now.
favorite criticisms is how dare two white people have this discussion without a person of color in
Well,
the
that's
room.
true. Yeah. We'll
that's the
probably
best
catch shit
one.
for this.
But it's from who?
Yeah,
From
that's-
who that can go fuck themselves? Who? Who with your preposterous idea? The idea that hold on, Anthony, before we go any further, let's bring in a person of color.
Yeah. A person of
Otherwise,
color.
How should we are too privileged people. We shouldn't be discussing these
That
issues.
is true.
Like, you can't even communicate about something.
No, you can't. And all we hear about is how we need an open and honest discussion about race.
Right.
And then the second you try to have one,
Yeah.
shut up. Don't talk about
Well, here's
that.
one that everybody keeps ignoring. You want to know what's racist? Harvard tries really hard to keep Asian people out.
Yeah.
They're making it way more difficult because Asian people are far better at school than white people.
It's just the way it is. and they have to balance it. It would be full of Asians.
But so what?
If
It should
everybody
be.
was got accepted for qualifications,
Yeah.
that would be Asian Harvard.
But it is amazing that people that are rallying against racial discrimination don't look at that, because that is absolute racial discrimination, but on the
Yeah.
other end of the spectrum.
Right.
You're taking these people that are a minority, they're a small percentage of the population, and they vastly outperform most other groups.
Yeah.
And because of that, Harvard has made it more difficult for them to get in. And now there's a giant class action lawsuit against one of the most liberal and progressive institutes of higher learning ever. And
Yeah.
they're racist. They're fucking undeniably racist. That is
fucked up is that?
racist.
Yeah.
It's
It is
racist
racist.
against the superior people.
It's absolutely based on nothing but someone's race, ethnic
Yes,
background,
yeah.
and they're doing it. Yeah.
Well,
so
they're doing it for now.
for now,
But you don't hear about this from the social justice warriors and all the
No,
race
no.
baiters. They want to go on about white privilege and, you know.
yeah, it really is fun. Look, I just like bringing shit up that I notice, and if
Yeah.
I notice that they're squeezing diversity into something that doesn't need it, I think it's like I said, distracting, and it's out of place. And then other things, like the other day, I noticed. And you probably shouldn't even say it, that the Mars probe that just landed on Mars, and they showed the control room at Jet Propulsion Laboratories, and they're all applauding, could possibly be the least diverse room I've ever seen in my life. A bunch of white nerds.
Yeah.
That's all it was. There
That's
were a
all it
couple
is.
of like big women, like kind of,
Lesbians.
lesbians. There were a couple of them in there, but for the most part, it was every nerdy guy grown up and
Right.
landing a fucking speck a billion miles away on fucking Mars. It's insane, because when push comes to shove, you need the people that can get the job done.
Right.
And if it's that room of people, it's that room of people. You can't artificially diversify something just for the optic and get the job done. They had
Right.
everyone in that room had a reason to be there. And I assume it's based on qualifications. But if you notice that or mention it, I'm sure I'll be called a fucking racist for that. But
Yeah, for sure.
Don't ever notice things.
You can't
That's
notice
what the
things.
rule is. Don't notice trends. Don't notice things.
I feel like that's going away, though. I
Yeah.
really do.
I think
do.
so.
I don't see it
I hope.
lasting. I feel like it's a bright wave of nonsense that's hitting us, and it's going to balance back out, and rational thinking is going to... Here's the thing, like, this is one of the things that drives me crazy. It's like, address your white privilege, recognize your white privilege. No. You know why? I'm not racist. Okay, so if I'm not racist, you should be concentrating on racism. You shouldn't be concentrating on people who don't experience racism because they're fortunately white. Because I didn't do anything. You didn't do anything
yeah.
just by being... But what they're doing is they're putting you in a position where you're always guilty. And once they put you in that box, they always can shut you up, because the logic is not very good. So the discourse is not well thought out. It's not really nuanced. So because of that, they want to be able to just push a button and shut you off.
Right.
And that button is the white privilege button. But you're looking at a reality. Yeah, do white people have it easier than people who get racially discriminated against? Yes.
Sure.
But the problem is not the white people that have it easy. The problem is the people that racially discriminate. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
So you're looking at the wrong thing. So you're finding someone, you want to make them a bad person just by being the thing that you've decided is the oppressor. Like,
Yeah.
it's a racist thing.
Everything is the same level. Whether you have an opinion about something, just voicing an opinion about something that involves race or sexuality or whatever it is, and literally calling for violence against
Yes.
people of a certain... It's all in the same category, when it's ridiculous. You could have your personal opinion on anything that is sensitive these days. Like I said, race or sexuality or what have you. It doesn't mean anything unless you use some kind of negativity or oppression or something against the person because of your opinion. Until you do that, you just have a fucking opinion.
Right.
And it's not all that dangerous. Patrice used to say that too. He goes, I never met a racist in my life. I never met one. Never sat down and had someone call him the N-word or anything like that. He goes,
Well,
never
he-
met one.
He's been in the wrong places.
Maybe
we
that's
could,
it.
we could take him some places.
But it's like,
Yeah.
let's say you have somebody that has a low opinion of black people, and you go into a bar, you sit down, and there's a black dude sitting there, and you're watching the Yankee game or something, and he goes, hey, look at that, the Yankees are winning. Is the guy going to turn around and go, fuck you, and drop in M-bombs, or is he going to go, yeah, I guess so? Like there's levels of
Right.
he might have an idea about it, but until you start exercising that, I don't honestly don't see a problem with it.
There's people that
whatever it is.
discriminate, and they have discriminatory ideas about all sorts of things. It's just when you allow some but don't allow others. When you allow discrimination against white people, but you don't allow it against black people.
Right, yeah.
You create resentment. When you allow discrimination against men, but don't allow it against women, because you feel like women have been victimized, so it's our time. It's our turn. Well, no, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way, especially when you're talking to people that aren't rapists.
Right,
If
yeah.
you call everybody a rapist, and the people who aren't rapists, you go, oh, okay, so you think everybody's a rapist. Well, you're fucking crazy. And then they start changing what rape is.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's kind of what they've done. I mean, obviously like the Louis C.K. situation. I know that is people are so divided on that one. And my opinion is if he didn't do anything, make anyone do anything against their will, he's just a guy that has a strange proclivity to, you know, he
Yes.
likes jerking off in front of people. Apparently the cat's out of the bag there.
Yeah.
But like, were those girls that upset 20 years ago? Were they that upset 20 years ago that now it's an issue? Or were they giggling? Were they like, I need to know how they were then, because I don't give a fuck what you think now. Like at the time, was it okay? Was it cool with you? Did you sit there and fucking elbow to the ribs with your girlfriend and go, look at this guy jerking off in front of us? To me, I don't care what time is done, because the way something looks, the morality or ethics or respect that is expected in 2018 ain't what it was 20 years ago.
Right.
So you can't be held liable for something you did 20 years ago when it was normal or a little strange or whatever the fuck it was.
Well, I think it's always been weird to beat off in front of people.
That's an odd thing to do.
The thing about it is, though, he asked if he could.
Right.
And this is something that I brought up to people. I go, you know, and people say, oh, you know, he would lock these women in a room and beat off to them. I
No.
go, stop. Okay, if you're gonna like push this, you're saying that because that fits your narrative. That he's this abusive person who's abusing his power. Now, here's another problem with that. When this was all going down, he wasn't very famous.
No, that's just it too. So what power was he abusing?
Yeah, he was a successful comedian. He was admired by his peers because he was really funny.
Yeah.
But he wasn't Louis C.K., like the superstar filling out Madison Square Garden Louis C.K.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same guy. You know, he didn't even have all the HBO specials and all the Netflix specials. It
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
the same guy. So he was just another comic that liked to beat off in front of people, and he would ask first. So
Right.
when you say that he, you know, forced these women and wouldn't let them leave, none of them say that. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
he asked, and when they said no, he didn't do it. He didn't say, oh, well, good. You don't want me to beat off? That'll make it feel even better when I beat off in front of you. Shut the fuck up and sit down. You know, he wasn't doing that.
No, he was asking, which is so strange.
It's
but
a weird thing.
It's not in the same realm as Harvey Weinstein.
It's
or
not even
fucking
close.
no, it's not even close.
It's not even close, but people don't want you to rationalize.
No.
They don't want you to grade things. They just want to talk about abuse. All abuse gets shoveled into this one little pie chart
Right.
area. Like, this is male abusers.
Yeah.
And then they'll put Matt Lauer right next to Bill Cosby, right next to Louis C.K. Like, well, this seems kind of crazy. And then when you say it's crazy, like Matt Damon said, I think we should make a distinction. They went, get him off the movie. You can't be an Ocean's 8. No!
You become a rape apologist if
Yeah,
you say
exactly.
things like that, and it's weird because it's odd because even saying the word rape these days, like a little red flag goes off in your head. Like, how did I say that? Did I say
Careful.
Did I say it evil? And did it sound evil or
Can't
did
be salivating.
Don't be salivating. Don't smile when you say it. It's very somber. It is strange. It's this. I use the term all the time because it's the only one that really fits. Orwellian.
Yes.
Everything is so strange now. If you read 1984 years ago, you couldn't fathom things getting like that.
Right.
But man, in some cases, it's even worse than expected. You think there aren't unperson? You don't think there's an Alex Jones, unperson?
Yeah.
Wipe them clean from the fucking. That's it.
Yeah.
Newspeak. Words are twisted. Like it means the opposite of what it was supposed to mean, and it's something that you never thought would happen. I always thought, like, you read a book like that or some other kind of dystopian story, you get like an orb. It's supposed to be some kind of orb with the government looking at you and don't do that, sir. 265302, sit down and then it's like, oh fuck, it was us. Oh, we're the rats. We pick up our phone and we rat each other out, and we're Big Brother. Like, we turned out to be the bad guys.
Yeah.
The collective. It's not the government. They fucking, like, oh boy, the government's going to put a tracking device on you. Fuck that. He comes to my house and wants to put, I'll shoot him. I don't care. Oh, you forgot your phone. Don't leave your house without your fucking tracking device.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing.
And they do use those in crime cases.
Of course. Everything is presented as a convenience. When I first got Easy Pass, it was like, this is awesome. I don't have to wait on a line at a toll booth and throw change in or something. I'm whizzing right through. And then I see a story. It's like, oh, Easy Pass used in a divorce case to see if the husband was going here or there. And it's like, oh, that's handy. That's handy. And then you see on the insurance commercials, it's like, use this safe driver thing. It goes in your car and it acts like a plane's black box and it shows how safe you drive and they'll reduce your rates. It's like, really? It's not going to be used if I'm speeding and getting into an accident for them to go, yeah, we're not paying your fucking thing because obviously we read that you were speeding and didn't stop, or like, it's all presented as a convenience. Alexa, you literally, your TVs, they all rat you out. Alexa isn't this magic thing that everything happens internally. That shit sends everything you say out, records it somewhere, and then sends whatever answer it's supposed to give back to it, and that's what it is. But everything is saved. And do you really know when it's listening and when you say certain things? I had Alexa for a little while. I don't know why. All I ever did was like, Alexa, weather, and it would tell me the weather. I could have checked on my phone. And then it started doing things like, I'd just be watching TV and it would be like, I don't have an answer for that. Like, yeah, I don't need that shit. I don't know what it's doing. I don't know what it's
listening to dialogue from the television?
From maybe the TV. Maybe it's just listening to every fucking thing I say and sending a transcript somewhere.
Thing you say.
Because then you could go to the app on your phone and every question you ever asked it is listed there in text fucking form. Swear to you. Every conversation you have with that goddamn thing is somewhere.
Well, hey,
on
if you're not doing anything bad, what are you worried about?
There you go.
Hey,
well,
hey, as long as it keeps us safe.
Right. Keeps us safe.
What are you worried about?
How about, if you're not doing anything bad? Well, in 10 years, will this be bad? In 5 years? Just like shit that 20 years ago wasn't bad. Now it's a fucking crime.
Right.
You'll be exiled from society. I don't know if what I'm saying now can be brought up in 10 years. And, when I play video games, I say some pretty nasty shit. But I don't want Alexa or my smart TV to listen to every fucking thing I say and record transcripts of what I'm talking about. And we bring it in our house. No one's forcing you to put this fucking rat in your house. You paid for it. You spent money and you put it there and plugged it in yourself. It's amazing how we went from not trusting anything. I remember when online shopping first started and you're like, I'm not putting my credit card in there. Now you laugh. You go, what are you kidding? You just drove through 20 face scanners, license plate scanners to get here. Your card is being picked up by a sensor so they can target advertise you in the mall. So there is no privacy anymore. And we love it. We love that there's no privacy. I don't want to go to the mall for Christmas. I go to Amazon. And now there's a list of every fucking thing I buy at Amazon that's being sent to everyone all over the place. You think you got privacy? Fuck you. You can't even move to Montana anymore in a cabin and be off the grid. It just doesn't happen. So I love Jesse the Bot. You ever see Jesse when he does, I'm off the grid. I'm going to Mexico and I'm off the grid. And it's like, He's got a show called Off the Grid. It's
Yeah.
like, well, you're on the grid.
You're on
I
TV,
think.
bro.
I'm a fighter, governor. He's off the grid, but he's constantly on the grid. There's no off the grid anymore. There's no off the grid.
The whole world's going to be on the grid.
Yeah, the whole world. That's what they're
Continue
targeting.
to expand these satellite imagery things for
Oh my God,
for internet. They're doing that as well. Where they're going to have satellite internet available everywhere, all over the world.
Yeah,
Third world
all over the
countries,
world.
bringing everybody up to speed.
And I was talking about this with somebody else. Isn't it amazing that GPS has worked for as long as it has?
Yeah.
Flawlessly.
It's amazing how good it works.
Never a problem.
Inch by inch. Like literally it tells you turn right and you're
It's
right there.
crazy.
Yeah.
And I think we have the dumbed down version. Like the military has the premium version. Like,
Oh, sure.
But yeah, by the inch. And we have, by a couple of feet. But to me, it's amazing that like it's worked this long.
I
It
used to
never
have it
goes
on
out like,
CD-ROM.
it's really
I had it on CD-ROM in my car in 1998.
styling.
Yeah, I had the early version of that, and it was a big stupid thing that had to sit on top of the roof of my car to catch to catch the satellite.
What,
image.
like a disc or
yeah,
something?
it was like some weird antenna that had to go up there. That
Yeah.
they used to have to pick up the GPS.
How come the satellites aren't any different, but the receivers are like can be a lot
It's
smaller?
like it's your fucking phone.
It's in your fucking
it picks
phone.
up while it's in your pocket. They're tracking you while it's in your pocket in your car as you're driving.
Of course, when it's
Yeah.
off, when it's I don't trust any of these electronics. I use them. I'm not going to throw my fucking phone away.
Yeah.
And if I do forget it, there's no more horrifying feeling than driving away from your house and going, oh fuck,
Yeah.
I don't have my tracking device. And you will turn around and get it because you can't function without it.
Yeah.
It's everything to people. Again, if there was that EMP or whatever the fuck it is that just zaps the grid, you would see pandemonium in no time.
Well, you would see pandemonium if just the power grid went down for any reason. If someone, like a terrorist attack, took out the power grid, we need power way more than we think we do.
Oh,
And it's something
absolutely.
that's you just think nothing of.
We in New York, we had the hurricane a few years ago, like 5 6 years ago, I guess it was, and the one that took out Jersey and Long Island and stuff. And we went 9 days without power in the house on Long Island. And you could see it fraying around the edges, man. Society the first couple of days, you'd be online at the gas station to fill up jerry cans to take back to your generators at the house. And it's like, oh, okay, excuse me. Oh, no, you were first. Go ahead. By that 7th, 8th day, it got, fuck you. No, I was standing here. Go fuck yourself. Get to the back of the line. Now, could you imagine if that was you trying to get your kids medication or something or food, like it just goes a little longer and now food's getting a little scarce, you are going to have a problem. And I'm stunned it hasn't happened to any extent, really. We saw it close with Katrina, I think, and violence started. That was a little out of hand. But you zap that grid and give people, they have nothing. I wound up getting a giant fucking like a Cummins generator. This thing like is for backup power at hospitals. So when the power goes out in my neighborhood, literally my pool is running, floodlights in the backyard, every TV's on. It comes on automatically. You just sit there.
What does it fuel with?
It's liquid propane.
How big is the tank?
I have 2 1,000-gallon tanks buried in my front yard.
What?
So it would last for a long fucking time.
How long is a long time?
Depending on how much you use, because the more draw on it, the harder the engine's got to work. So it depends. If I'm running my whole house, I don't know. It would last a few weeks.
And it's safe for that propane to be in those cans underground and
underground.
not deteriorate?
No, they're in giant tanks. They're running natural gas into my neighborhood, so I might have it converted over to natural gas. But I like the fact that if the gas breaks too, I can still at least jack an LP truck somewhere and fill up my own tank,
That's
if
crazy.
Push came to shove. But it is just every light in the house can be on. My neighborhood's dark. I'm just looking out, looking, fuckers.
Has that happened?
Yeah, a few times. I'm waiting for a big one, though. Like, I really want a big, bad blackout just so I
then
can...
they're going to know that you're the guy with the power.
That's
You're
it.
the guy with the refrigerator.
That's where the guns come in. Like it really, there is something a little creepy about the prospect that we are really delicately balanced as a society. It could really fly apart. We trust too much that the power's just going to be on.
Yeah.
That the water's going to run.
Yeah.
That the food's going to be at the supermarket or whatever the fuck it is. Like you got a great advantage being able to hunt. You know how many people don't know? Do you know what American refugees would look like? The fat fucking mess crossing some border to Canada to be saved from some cataclysm that happened down here. What a bunch of fucking just weak, soft, know-nothing. Every convenience they've used for years, just not trained in the feeding yourself outside in the wild. You have no idea. You ever skin an animal? You ever kill something to eat? Do you know how to get water from just the humidity in the air? Or there are things that we just don't know because we depend on technology and we trust that it's always going to be there because it has been. I mean, we get very complacent, but that's why if it ever failed, oh fuck, you better hunker down somewhere. It's crazy.
Indeed. And on that note, dude, we just did like 4 hours.
Unreal. It seems like it flew right by.
It did fly.
That is
right
nuts.
Yeah.
Joe, I got to thank you, man.
Thank you.
I love being on your show.
For real. You're the reason why this all happened.
It's crazy.
Now people know.
It's fucking nuts. I love it.
Thanks, buddy.
I love it.
Always good seeing you, man.
Thank you, my friend.
You very much.
Cool. Oh,
Anthony
the book,
Cumia,
yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, he's got a book out.
Permanently suspended, available anywhere. Go to compoundmedia.com for all the details.
All right. Bye.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.